Chapter 259. Facing the terrifying murder clown, some people smashed their hollow brain, some were stunned, some were beating their chests, gritting their teeth, trying to think of a way to participate in the game without being discovered by the murder clown. Space. The S.W. Divine Temple. This guy's acting is pretty good, Jang Young-ho excitedly commented. That's right, I think he's enjoying the process. Saying so, Liao Xing raised the bottle of liquor in his hand and gulped it down. He loudly shouted, "A scientist's job is to study things they can't understand, but I didn't think we'd be able to beat something we can't understand to the ground. Don't be careless, it's only a stalemate right now," Gu Qingshan said. "You're being too careful, I don't think anyone else would dare to participate in this game." Liao Xing shook his head. "I'm just afraid that this game might change again," Jang Young-ho said. Where is Yi Fei going?" Gu Qingshan looked at the screen and asked, only to see that Yi Fei had already taken off his armor, using the bone spikes on his back to travel through the clouds. "From the looks of it, he seems to be heading somewhere. Mr. Yi Fei is currently following my evolution plan to eliminate the man-killer fiends," Impartial Goddess answered. "That guy was killed by Gu Qingshan. Our little man-killer fiend must have been hurt," Liao Xing laughed. "That's fine, it's a good thing that he's a bit stronger," Gu Qingshan said. "Sir, can you give me that pair of boots? I'm currently researching something like that," Impartial Goddess asked. Gu Qingshan looked at Jang Young-ho. "I don't need it," Jang Young-ho said. "All right, when Yi Fei returns, you can take it to research," Gu Qingshan said. "How extravagant, a staff, a pair of gloves, a pair of boots. All of these prizes were given to a machine in the end," Liao Xing muttered. "Mr. Liao, my research is very important, please believe me," Impartial Goddess said. All right. I don't need it anyway. Suit yourself." Saying so, Liao Xing turned around to study his warp device. At this point, Impartial Goddess reminded him, "Sir, it's time, the small-sized interstellar warship is ready to depart." "All right, we'll go now," Gu Qingshan stood up and said. "Jang Young-ho, come with me," he called out to him as he walked. "Where are we going?" Jang Young-ho was stunned. "What do you think? This is your request," Gu Qingshan said. "Ah. Good. Then we should go back to take a bath, shave, and change into clean clothes," Jang Young-ho said. "I don't think that's necessary," Gu Qingshan said uncertainly. "Nonsense. This was a must. At times like this, personal image is very important." Jang Young-ho suddenly raised his voice. He looked a little nervous. "What are you going to do? Go to a girls' party without an old man like me knowing?" Liao Xing immediately became cautious. "That's not it," Gu Qingshan patiently explained. "We're going to an international conference. Personal image is very important at times like this." "What kind of conference is it?" Liao Xing asked. "The genetic modification serum," Gu Qingshan answered. "If we can convince every country to make the genetic modification serum available, then our game system will be able to allow for job selection, injecting the corresponding genetic modification serum according to the chosen job?" Liao Xing asked. "That's right," Gu Qingshan answered. Liao Xing took a deep breath and muttered, "That's more and more like a game. The game is only the outer shell. The real purpose is for everyone to evolve and become stronger," Gu Qingshan said. He continued, "There are many other ideas, but we can't eat everything in one go, so let's start with the genetic modification serum." An hour later, Gu Qingshan and Jang Young-ho were wearing formal attire as they walked down from the small-sized shuttle. This was the capital, the Freedom Federation's International Conference Center. The Holy Empire, Fuxi Empire, and the Freedom Federation, the three biggest countries of the world, as well as representatives from many smaller countries were gathered here, ready to discuss the direction of humanity. A few elite agents walked up, about to stop them. Suddenly, Gu Qingshan's image appeared on the large screen on the outside of the conference center. Lines of text were neatly arranged next to his picture. "Freedom Federation's mobile mech technology scientist, Mobile Mech Life Structure Creator, Mobile Mech Patent Holder of 37 Mobile Mech patents. The discoverer of the Man-Eater Fiend and Man-Killer Fiend viruses. Creator of the Man-Eater Fiend and Man-Eater Fiend defenses. Capital's National Defense University's special professor. An electronic mechanical voice could be heard from the agent's earpieces. The agents immediately changed their attitude and made way for them. "Please come in," the leading agent spoke. After the two of them walked far enough, Jang Young-ho asked in a low voice, "Impartial goddess?" Gu Qing-shan replied. Jang Young-ho sighed emotionally. "With you, impartial goddess, and the president's support, I can't think of anyone in the entire Federation who can stop us." The two of them walked forward and arrived at a small reception room. Not long after they sat down, the president came in with 4 to 5 of his subordinates. "This is," the president asked. "My business partner, Jang Young-ho," Gu Qing-shan introduced. Jang Young-ho hurriedly stood up and shook the president's hand. "I know you, the kid who betrayed the Zhang family." The president looked at Jang Young-ho and laughed. "I've made a fool of myself. I didn't know any better when I was young," Jang Young-ho said. "What were you thinking at the time?" the president asked with interest. "No one is born noble. The inheritance of aristocrats shouldn't be authority, but rather the spirit of being the leader of human society," Jang Young-ho casually explained. "Well said. No wonder you were able to become Qing Shan's business partner." The president shook his hand with one hand, then patted his arm with the other. Jang Young-ho was flattered. After some small talk, they sat down. "Qing Shan, today we're going to talk about the genetic modification serum, but they're still hesitating, so I want to invite you up to discuss it and see if you can convince them," the president said. "Very well, that's not a problem, but there's something else I want to discuss with you," Gu Qing-shan said. "Ah? Go ahead," the president said. "This is something that only you know," Gu Qing-shan said. The president then dismissed his subordinate. Gu Qing-shan put the black briefcase he brought with him on the table and opened it. He took out a silver bracelet and gave it to the president. "What is this?" the president asked. "A support system for individual soldiers. Combined with the genetic modification serum, it can help a person quickly learn combat skills. It's still under development, but you can try it out first," Gu Qing-shan smiled. 10 minutes later, the president left with his subordinate. "You're the president's illegitimate son?" Jang Young-ho hesitantly asked. "Of course not," Gu Qing-shan replied. "But why is he so nice to you?" "After seeing it, he said that he'll cooperate with you," Jang Young-ho asked. "He has the highest authority. He knows everything that I've done. Even what happened to Yi Fei Li." Gu Qing-shan also felt a bit uncertain. Perhaps with his eyes, he's able to see how this will benefit humanity in the future. He thought for a bit and said, "Other than that, there seems to be no other explanation." Jang Young-ho muttered, "Why do I feel like he's even more impatient than you?" At this point, the grand bell of the conference center rang. "There's still a bit of time left, aren't we a bit early?" Jang Young-ho checked his watch and said. Gu Qing-shan helplessly said, "You were the one who rushed here." A knock was heard on the door. "Please come in," Gu Qing-shan said. A slender figure came in and quickly closed the door. Long crimson hair, a tall and slender figure, a delicate and beautiful face. Anna Medici. "I want to talk to you alone." She looked at Gu Qing-shan and said. "Very well," Gu Qing-shan replied. Jang Young-ho left and closed the door behind him. "I need you to help me," Anna said straightforwardly. "How?" Gu Qing-shan asked. "I know that you're the inventor and creator of the Blazing Angel. I also know that you have a unique power, and that impartial goddess favors you a lot," Anna quickly said. Gu Qing-shan nodded. "Furthermore, I need to thank you for helping me get rid of Holy Apostle Hill." "You're welcome. I'm more than happy to slap him to death." Anna went silent, seemingly wanting to say something, but couldn't find the right words. As hot-tempered as she is, she couldn't bring herself to say anything. She scowled, feeling a bit annoyed at herself. "What the hell, I was just thinking about how to talk." but now that it's about to happen, I'm already backing down. Gu Qingshan silently looked at her. She's a lot more haggard than before, although she's acting tough on the outside, she can't hide the mental exhaustion she's feeling. The girl's eyes are also no longer as clear and pure as before, now a bit more complicated and weathered. Gu Qingshan waited for a bit, but seeing that she still didn't say anything, he asked, "You came with the Fuxi Empire's Emperor-Empress?" "That's right." Seeing him speak first, Anna sighed in relief. "How are you doing in the Fuxi Empire?" "I'm doing very well, with my aunt taking care of me. There won't be any problems," Anna answered. "Really?" Gu Qingshan stared at her and asked. Anna went silent for a bit, then smiled bitterly. "There are a few things that aren't what I expected. Then how can I help you?" Gu Qingshan took the initiative to ask. "I want to restore my country," Anna lowered her head and answered. "Isn't the Fuxi Empire preparing to go to war with the Holy Church?" Gu Qingshan asked. Anna's expression was full of sarcasm as she answered. "I do want to restore my country, but unless it's absolutely necessary, I don't want to become Fuxi's puppet." "Then what do you want me to do when you found me?" Gu Qingshan asked further. This time, Anna looked up straight at Gu Qingshan without hesitation and mustered her courage to finish her sentence. "I need your mech technology. I also want to ask you to help me contact Impartial Goddess, asking her to arrange a war strategy for me according to the International Aid Act. You have a good relationship with the President, as well as the Federation's Marshal Saint, so I need you to help me get in touch with them." Gu Qingshan silently listened. Anna continued, "If you're willing to use your power to help me, I'll definitely repay you accordingly." Feeling like she was being too casual, she added, "I swear on the Medici clan's honor, as long as I can restore my country, I'll promise you one thing: no matter what you need me to do, I'll use the entire country's power to help you. I know I'm not related to you, and I'm not in any position to ask for your help," Anna slowly said. "Ever since we met, you've never owed me anything." Saying so, she sniffled a bit, seemingly calming herself down. "But please help me, these things are very hard for me, but if you're willing to help me, I'll at least have a sliver of hope. From now on, I'll definitely repay you as I promised." Saying so, her voice carried a hint of begging. "If you think it's too hard," she wanted to act calm and say something gentlemanly, but the corner of her mouth couldn't help but twitch. Gu Qingshan didn't say anything, only silently looked at her. "No, it's not that I don't owe you anything," he silently thought to himself. "I still owe you my life." In a trance, he seemed to have returned to his past life. The ground was littered with demon corpses. Gu Qingshan leaned on her sword, barely able to stand up. "Thank you for saving my life. Why are you here?" "With your cultivation level, coming here is no different from suicide," the red-haired girl spoke. "To pick spirit herbs," he answered. "Spirit herbs?" The girl was clearly surprised. Only now did she notice the spirit herbs on the ground. These spirit herbs can be sold for a bit of money, but for the girl, such a suicidal action was a bit unexpected. Looking at the man, he was covered in wounds, bleeding profusely. The girl suddenly felt like she should do something. "All right, you're quite a brave brat. I'm about to return anyway. Come with me," she said. "Thank you." Under the small campfire, the two of them were eating while talking. "I'm Gu Qingshan. What's your name?" "Ha, such a common greeting doesn't match your courage. I'm Anna. Thank you for saving my life. I'll remember your name and repay you in the future." "Repay me? What's there to repay? Just treat it as me doing it in passing." She waved her hand dismissively and said, "For you it might be something convenient, but for me, it was a chance of survival. I've never owed anyone such a big favor before." "Ah ha ha ha, so you're serious? What a cute brat." She looked up and laughed. "That's not funny." Gu Qingshan lowered her head and muttered. Her eyes moved a bit, then suddenly asked, "Then, can you do something for me?" He looked up. "Of course, as long as it's within my power. Then help me find the strongest and tastiest liquor in the world." The girl smacked her lips and continued, "Bringing such a great liquor to me will count as you repaying me with your life. My life is only worth a glass of liquor from you? He mocked himself. No, it has nothing to do with your life. It's because liquor is my life. The beautiful girl shook her head. Why? He couldn't help but ask. Because only when I'm truly drunk do I feel like I'm alive. The girl's voice became low, her eyes filled with endless pain. The scene faded away. A few years later, the night sky was lit up by a sea of flames. Gu Qingshan stood still on top of the tree, like a statue that lost its soul. As he looked at the flickering flames, he knew that he was too late. In his hand there was a tightly sealed wine bottle. Inside the bottle was the spirit liquor that he painstakingly brewed. Even many master spirit cooks of the cultivation world praised it after tasting it. After 5 years, he finally fulfilled her request. He came to find her full of confidence. But the spirit energy wave from afar clearly told him that her surging vitality had been completely burned away. The burning flames were extinguished. There was a deathly silence in all 4 directions. The hot current that was blowing against his face turned into a cold wind and whistled away. The sky was once again shrouded in darkness. The warm light that he could have hoped for disappeared at this moment. The world could no longer track her. Why does someone like you have to die? He muttered and suddenly let go. Chapter 260. Gu Qingshan abruptly stood up, pacing back and forth in the small meeting room. All the bitterness of the past life poured into her mind. Her emotions were like boiling water, unable to calm down no matter how hard she tried. The past can't be repeated, the present doesn't belong to the past. 2 different worlds, 2 different things, how exactly do I calculate them? Gu Qingshan suddenly stopped, turned around and looked at Anna. Why did you come to find me at this time? He asked. Facing the game of Eternal, he can't afford to make even a single mistake, so he really doesn't have the energy to care about anything else. But I have to help her. Is there any way I can help her? Gu Qingshan quickly thought about it. Anna seemed to have misunderstood his words, unconsciously tilted her head and whispered, I don't know either, I have nothing right now. After a while, I'll either die on the battlefield, or become a puppet of the Fuxi Empire to take over Saint Orlank's throne, her tone, as if she was talking to herself. But now that my father is dead and the Holy Empire has been divided, as the last member of the Medici clan, I have no choice but to stand up and face this. This is my destiny from the moment I was born. I just feel that before all of this happens I should come see you one last time. She lowered her head, struggling to smile. I'm sorry, it's so hard to see you again, but I said something that made you feel bad. See you. Take care. Anna put her hand on the sofa and slowly stood up. She took one last look at Gu Qingshan, then left. Just as she was about to open the door, Gu Qingshan's voice came from behind. Anna turned around and looked at him. It's like this, Gu Qingshan slowly spoke. I'm currently working on something. If you can join me, become my partner and help me finish this important task. As long as you help me with this, I'll help you. Anna didn't ask anything and directly said. He was stunned. I still haven't said anything, Anna mocked herself. In any case, my future is either to die on the battlefield or to become a puppet. Before that, I'm happy to help you with something. Just think of it as me, doing it in passing. She said at last. Gu Qingshan was completely stunned on the spot. The echoes of his previous life lingered in his ears. Thank you for saving my life. I will remember your name and repay you in the future. Repay me? What's there to repay? Just treat it as me doing it in passing. At this moment, regardless of whether it was a coincidence or fate, Anna said the exact same words as she did in her previous life. Gu Qingshan suddenly felt that her heart was hit hard by something. Huge and silent emotions filled his chest, but he couldn't find any words to vent them. He stood up slowly, and he seemed to have a different temperament. Anna, I have 2 choices for you. What are they? I can give you all the mech technology in a bit. I'll introduce you to the president and let you meet with the martial saint. I'll do whatever you want. But after that, you'll have to return to Fuxi and use the power I'll give you to cooperate with Fuxi to reclaim the Holy Empire. This was a historical event that happened in the past life. A few years later, Anna borrowed the Fuxi Empire's powerful army of professionists to reclaim half of the Holy Empire. But in this life, if he has the capital that Gu Qingshan gave him, Anna will definitely be able to use it to increase his status, gain more authority and freedom, unlike in the past life when he was just a puppet. Is that even a choice? You're saying there are two choices, Anna hurriedly asked. She couldn't help but take a few steps back, even forgetting to close the door. That's right, there's another choice, Gu Qingshan slowly said. Join my team, become my partner, and do some things with me. If you choose that, then you won't have to pretend to be courteous to the Fuxi Empire anymore, because one day, I guarantee that you'll be able to rebuild the Medici clan's empire from the ruins of the Holy Church. I'll stand by your side, help you clear away all obstacles. I'll put you on the throne and make you the Empress of the Olenka Empire. You sure you can do that? Don't lie to me, even the Fuxi Emperor wouldn't dare to say something like that. Anna looked at him uncertainly. Now is the time for you to make your choice. Gu Qingshan looked straight at her and continued. If you believe me, then join my team and stay here to help me. If you don't think what I said will happen, then open the door, walk out and return to the Fuxi Empire. I'll give you everything I promised you just now. Make your choice. Saying so, he went silent and looked at Anna. Anna was stunned, looking at him as if trying to decipher the true meaning of those words. This is definitely the hardest choice Anna has ever made in her life. After staying silent for a while, Anna suddenly said, I only have one question. Speak. Anna took off the life substitution contract from her neck and held it in her hand. Do you know what this is? She stared at the man in front of her and asked in a low voice. The Death God's relic, Gu Qingshan answered. Finally confirming that answer, Anna was stunned for a bit. You know, and you still put it on my neck. She lowered her head, hiding her expression. The room went silent. Gu Qingshan didn't rush her. Anna also didn't answer right away. After a while, Anna muttered, I'm carrying too much on my back. She took a step back towards the door. Gu Qingshan said nothing. The fate of me and my country, I can't just leave it to anyone. As if convincing herself, she took a few steps forward and stood in front of the door. Gu Qingshan still remained silent. Time seemed to slow down and freeze at this moment. A while later, she reached her hand out and closed the door. I don't know if this choice is right or wrong. Saying so, she turned around and slowly walked towards Gu Qingshan. But you are the first person in history to return the Death God's relic to the previous wearer. I'm willing to follow you, to accomplish what you want to do. But will you really help me? She looked at Gu Qingshan, a faint light that could be blown away at any moment in her dark eyes. I will. Gu Qingshan met her gaze, solemnly and resolutely said. Anna bit her lip and silently nodded. She reached her hand out and put the Death God's relic on Gu Qingshan's neck. If you can really do what you promised, I will definitely make you the Grand Prince of the Olenka Empire. The Grand Prince is the Empress' husband. Her face blushed a bit, the flickering light in her eyes stopped, reflecting Gu Qingshan's appearance. Gu Qingshan's anger disappeared and hurriedly said, Grand Prince. His chest was covered by Anna's hand. The sound of knocking came. Chapter 261. Go, I'll wait for you here. Anna lowered her head, her crimson hair hiding her expression. Brother, there's only 5 minutes left before you go on stage, Jang Young-ho helplessly called out. Then wait for me here, Gu Qingshan said to Anna and quickly left. After he left, a shadow came in from outside the door. The shadow turned into Feng Huode, asking, Your Highness, how is it going? I have to stay by his side. You might have to return to the Holy Empire yourself, Anna answered. Okay, what? Please say that again, Your Highness? Feng Huode shouted in shock. Huode, the Holy Empire's remaining forces will depend on you. I want to follow him, Anna said very seriously. Your Highness, the kingdom's bloodline needs to continue, but isn't this a bit too early? But then again, how many princes are you planning to have? Go back to the Holy Empire, right now, on the other side. Gu Qingshan and Zhang Yongho quickly walked towards the elevator. Who was the last speaker? Gu Qingshan asked. It was the president. He just finished speaking. He seems to be feeling a bit unwell, so he went back to his room upstairs to rest, Zhang Yongho answered. Is that so? Gu Qingshan was a bit confused. What's wrong with the president? He silently thought. Have you thought about what you're going to say? Zhang Yongho asked. There are more and more sea beasts coming ashore, the man-killer fiends are getting stronger and stronger. Facing such a situation, I only need to say the truth. Gu Qingshan stopped thinking and answered. There's no need to be so nervous. I just saw a few political friends I'm familiar with. I've already told them, if anything happens in the conference, they'll take care of it. Got it? The two of them were talking as they walked. Suddenly, their expressions changed at the same time, and they stood rooted to the ground. The ground was shaking. Bam! The moment they stopped in their tracks, a dull thud came from outside. This sound seemed to have raised the curtain. Somewhere on the upper floor of the International Convention Center, a huge uproar broke out. It was as if something shocking had happened. Everyone in the meeting couldn't help but exclaim. What happened? This is a gunshot. Could it be an assassination? Zhang Yongho said calmly. Can you tell what type of attack it is? Gu Qingshan released her divine sense to observe the surroundings and quickly asked. It sounds like an electromagnetic anti-material gun. This kind of weapon has twice the range of a traditional sniper rifle, and its lethality is astonishing, Zhang Yongho said. It's too far away from us, Gu Qingshan said. The two of them looked out of the French windows. Dozens of combat mechs roared and rushed out of the conference center, heading in a certain direction. Then, groups of soldiers appeared out of nowhere and surrounded the International Convention Center. A small number of officers quickly chased after the mobile mech. Looking at their speed, they were not slower than the mobile mech. These were all powerful professionals, special soldiers with very high ranks in the army. A loud woo-woo sound came from the sky. A large interstellar warship slowly appeared, hovering above the conference center. 3 squadrons of combat shuttles came down from the interstellar warship, quickly heading in the same direction. Impartial goddess, what happened? Gu Qingshan asked in a low voice. The president was assassinated. We're currently searching for the culprit, Impartial goddess answered. What? Zhang Yongho exclaimed in shock. How is the president? Gu Qingshan quickly asked. Not sure. All the surveillance devices in the conference center were affected by a strong electromagnetic interference within a few seconds. I didn't have time to issue a warning, Impartial goddess answered. Where's the president? The top floor's lounge. Suddenly, a figure quickly jumped up from the glass window. This person's movements were light and efficient, with only a single tap on the glass. He was already flying up. In his hands there were 2 short knives. With just a glance, this person had already jumped past this floor. Unable to identify identity, Impartial goddess quickly answered. Boom! A second later, Gu Qingshan flew through the glass like a cannonball, stopping in midair. The night rain appeared in his hand. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. 10 arrows drew nimble curves in the air as they streaked across the sky. That wasn't the end. Gu Qingshan put the bow away, took out a sword from the void of space, shook his body and flew up along the wall. He can actually fly. Zhang Yongho stood there in shock, muttering. Above Gu Qingshan, the man returned, swinging his daggers to knock the arrows away one by one. The arrows contained too much power, even with his agility, although he managed to block all of them. His arms were still numb from the impact. At this point, Gu Qingshan arrived. The earth sword simply swung in the air. The man tried to block with his daggers, but was cut in half along with his daggers. A cloud of blood exploded in front of the glass window, as the body fell down in two different directions. Diagonally upwards, "Sir," impartial goddess voice answered. Gu Qingshan looked up. Sure enough, another hitman was crawling up the window using both hands and feet. Gu Qingshan sheathed his sword, took out his bow, and drew an arrow. Great shot! Riding wind! Bombardment! The arrow was like a heavy cannon, blasting the man and the entire wall into smithereens. "Are there any more?" Gu Qingshan asked in a low voice. "There's none outside, but there's one inside, currently approaching the top floor," impartial goddess answered. Gu Qingshan jumped through an open window, heading straight for the top floor. "I have to make it in time." Gritting his teeth, he ran as fast as he could. Gu Qingshan's figure turned into a gray shadow, quickly climbing up the stairs. Along the way, the clothes of the passers-by fluttered in the wind caused by the gray shadow, but when they looked back, the gray shadow was already gone. Full beard, sunglasses, cigarette in hand, military green jacket, gray pants, black leather shoes, already on the 11th floor, impartial goddess described. Gu Qingshan rushed to the 11th floor. His inner sight had already locked onto the hitman. The hitman was a top-notch hitman among the hitmen this time. As soon as Gu Qingshan appeared, he immediately felt threatened. He quickly turned around. What he saw was a figure leaping towards him. This figure was so young, his face was cold, only calm and focused, without a hint of excitement or violence. That was the last thing he saw. A sharp pain came and the world turned dark. Blood splattered everywhere. Gu Qingshan sheathed his sword. The hitman was cut into pieces by the sword chi on his sword. As he died, 2 blooms of frost appeared on both his hands. Obviously, he died just as he was about to unleash his attack. Gu Qingshan didn't look at the result and quickly asked, "Any more?" "Nothing for now," impartial goddess answered. "President." Gu Qingshan wielded his sword and rushed to the top floor. When he arrived, several Secret Service members were already knocking on the door. "Hurry, hurry, hurry! Use more force!" "Damn it!" they roared. The door to the top floor was still closed. This was the most VIP lounge, so the security on the door was extremely tight. But who would have thought that it would backfire on them? At this time, another team of Secret Service members and a doctor also arrived. They exchanged glances, then locked their gazes on Gu Qingshan. After that, the Secret Service members' expressions changed, obviously receiving information about Gu Qingshan's identity. Their gazes on him relaxed. "Step aside, I'll do it." Gu Qingshan wielded the earth sword and was about to attack, but suddenly stopped. A sound came from inside the door. A few moments later, the door opened. The president came out unscathed, his expression calm. "Sir President." The person in charge of the Secret Service gestured for the medical personnel to come forward. "I'm fine, go and arrest him," the president waved his hand and said. The door closed behind him. The medical personnel didn't back down, aimed a few micro-devices at the president and began to collect data. A few seconds later, "The president is unscathed," the medical personnel announced. "Thank goodness he's fine." Everyone's hearts calmed down. Gu Qingshan put the healing pill back into his inventory bag and sighed in relief. This president was one of the few people that Gu Qingshan respected, so he really didn't want anything to happen to him. "Sir, do you need us to deal with the inside?" the special service member asked. "It's only a broken window. I'm currently handling some important work inside, so it's not convenient for you to go in right now. Furthermore, I'm fine myself, you can come back later to investigate." The president's expression was cold, his tone cold. "Trying to assassinate someone in an international conference like this, you must catch this assassin." "Yes, Your Excellency," a few special agents responded. More special service members came. Seeing the president was unscathed, they all sighed in relief. A special service member in charge stepped out to give orders, leaving a few people to guard the scene, while the rest went to guard the main roads. The president looked at Gu Qingshan and gently spoke. Qing Shan, I'm sorry to have made you worry. It's good that you're fine. Gu Qing Shan released his inner sight and scanned through the man's body. There were no wounds, his body was perfectly fine. Gu Qing Shan silently nodded. Since something like this happened, I'm afraid the official conference will have to stop for now. The president contemplated. After thinking for a while, he suddenly said, Let us have an informal private meeting, you, me, the Fuxi Emperor, and the Holy Empire's representative. I'm fine with that, I'll go with your arrangements, Gu Qing Shan replied. Very well, then you can go and rest first, I'll contact you later, the president said. Gu Qing Shan nodded and left. When he was out of sight, the president turned to the other special service members and gave them orders. They were all a bit surprised. Normally, the president doesn't care about safety, but today he's the exact opposite, personally making arrangements. But then again, this was an international conference held right in front of his own house, and yet the president was assassinated in broad daylight. The president must be furious right now, so it's only reasonable for him to do something like this himself. Of course, the people in charge wouldn't do anything stupid, so they seriously followed the president's orders and began to deal with other matters. It wasn't until there were only a few special service members left at the door that the president returned to his room. Chapter 262. Gu Qing Shan found Zhang Yongho and the two of them went back together. How's the president? Zhang Yongho asked. He's fine, Zhang Yongho also sighed in relief and asked, Was that a god's chosen skill just now? What do you mean? Gu Qing Shan asked. That's when you rush out and fly straight up, Zhang Yongho answered. That's not really flying, it's barely a floating skill. You call that a skill? Do you think I'm a 3-year-old? It really is a skill. Do you want to learn? I can teach you. Of course I want to learn. That's flying we're talking about. It'll probably take a very long time for you to be able to do that. No matter how long it takes, as long as I can fly, I'll definitely learn it, Zhang Yongho shouted excitedly. You just reminded me. This can be a selling point for the Planet Protector. The two of them returned to the small meeting room. Anna came up and asked, What happened outside? They tried to assassinate the president, but failed. Then what do we do now? Let's wait and see. The president said he still has something to talk to me about. We'll leave after that. All right. Seeing Anna's hesitant expression, Gu Qing Shan couldn't help but ask, What's the matter? Just say what you have to say. Before we leave, can you come with me to meet the Fuxi Emperor and Empress? Anna asked. Gu Qing Shan was surprised. Anna had just asked for the Fuxi Empire's protection. The Empire had even issued a formal diplomatic statement. But in the blink of an eye, she suddenly left without permission. That's no different from slapping the Fuxi Emperor's face. If this isn't handled well, there'll be a lot of problems. No problem, we'll go now, Gu Qing Shan said. Anna looked at him and smiled. A few minutes later, Gu Qing Shan followed Anna to meet the Fuxi Emperor, Empress. The International Conference Center of the Federation was an oval-shaped building. The middle part of the building was open to the air. There were several towering ancient trees and a whole lawn. The Fuxi Emperor didn't stay at the Freedom Holiday Hotel and instead set up camp here. In his words, the word freedom was not good, it was even disgusting. Freedom means a country out of control. The general public was like a flock of sheep, not knowing where they were going. If every sheep was given freedom and allowed to decide where to go, then the whole flock would scatter. The royal family of the empire was the shepherd of the flock of sheep. The herders guided the direction of the flock, protecting them from any threats and allowing them to flourish in peace. Therefore, the word freedom, under the pretentious cloak, was actually filled with great malice and danger. Therefore, His Majesty the Emperor would never stay in the Liberty Hotel. The Fuxi Empire's Emperor, Empress, with over 1,000 followers, set up several large tents on the outdoor lawn of the conference center. When Gu Qing Shan and Anna arrived, there was a ball being held here. The impassioned movements continued one after another, without any interruption. Inside the large tents, some people were performing a fire-breathing performance, some were performing a circus. 80 female dancers were dancing to the music, 16 performers were holding various musical instruments in their hands, circling around the dancers and performing with all their might. Over there, Anna pointed in a direction. Gu Qingshan followed where she was pointing, only to see a man and a woman sitting in the middle of the crowd, like the moon surrounded by stars. The man was dressed in a luxurious, loose robe, and on his head was a pure gold crown with 12 sharp points, which was inlaid with colorful gems. In his hand was a scepter, also made of pure gold. The top of the scepter was carved with a human head. The head was staring straight ahead. This head belonged to the founding emperor of the Fuxi Empire. When the founding emperor died, he requested for his entire skull to be fused into the scepter, wrapped in gold and carved into the shape of a scepter to be passed down to the next emperor. This meant that although he had passed away, he was still watching over his descendants to see if they were qualified to be emperors. This was the famous scepter of the Fuxi Empire's emperor. The man under the crown had a very normal face, but if he was in a crowd, you'd be able to recognize him at a glance. Because normal people can't imitate the coldness on his face. Even though the entire tent was filled with cheerful music, the man still had a straight face, not smiling at all. He casually sat there, like he was sitting on a throne that no one could reach, not easily pleased by anyone. Empress sat next to him, personally peeling some fruits for him, telling him some interesting stories about the Federation, occasionally looking up to observe his expression. Around them, no one dared to sit. Everyone was either standing sideways, bending their backs, showing a flattering smile, or kneeling on the ground. Gu Qingshan and Anna walked towards the Emperor and Empress. The Fuxi Empire has just announced that they're protecting me. If I leave now, the Emperor will definitely be furious. My aunt won't be able to do it, Anna said in a low voice. Anna's aunt is the Fuxi Empress. Then what do we do? Gu Qingshan asked. I want to use the simplest method to deal with this matter properly, but I need your support. Anna glanced at him. Of course I'll support you, Gu Qingshan said without hesitation. Then, Anna bit her lip, as the price for me to join the team, you have to listen to me. This way it won't hurt our relationship. No problem, Gu Qingshan said. He could understand this kind of thing. There are a lot of things to pay attention to when it comes to diplomacy, and the Fuxi Emperor is a very prideful person. Not only is Anna under his protection, but he's also related to Empress by blood, so it's best for people who don't understand not to act on their own. It's best to leave this to Anna. Just as he was thinking about it, a pair of warm and delicate hands suddenly held onto him. Anna pulled him through the crowd, heading straight for the Fuxi Emperor-Empress. At this moment, everything seems to have changed. When Anna held his hand, even though the music was still playing and people were still dancing and singing, Gu Qingshan could feel everyone's eyes were focused on him. He was like a model that suddenly appeared on the runway, and the entire place was packed. Everyone's eyes were on him, wanting to see every detail of his body. His Majesty the Emperor naturally noticed this. He frowned, observing Gu Qingshan. As soon as the Emperor moved, Empress noticed the atmosphere wasn't quite right. Following the Emperor's gaze, her beautiful eyes were also observing Gu Qingshan. She seemed a bit surprised, but quickly smiled and nodded gracefully, greeting the two of them. As Anna brought Gu Qingshan along, everyone consciously made a path for them, allowing them to go straight to the Emperor-Empress. Anna pushed Gu Qingshan in front of the Emperor-Empress, curtsied and said, Your Majesty the Emperor, Your Highness Empress, this is my boyfriend. Other than the musicians and dancers who couldn't stop, everyone else stopped what they were doing. Everyone didn't bother to hide anymore, their eyes all focused on Gu Qingshan, as if trying to see through him. This is Anna's boyfriend. The Holy Empire's princess, Anna Medici's boyfriend. The Emperor sat still. Empress glanced at the Emperor, pursed her lips, wanting to say something but holding it back. Anna quickly added when she saw His Majesty's brows furrowing tighter and tighter without the slightest intention to speak. Ah, right, his name is Gu Qing Shan. Gu Qing Shan? The Emperor suddenly stopped, seemingly recalling something. That name sounds familiar. He looked at one of the officials next to him. The official was staring at Gu Qing Shan, then nodded. That's right, it's him, the Federation's mech scientist, the founder of the next generation of mech core technology, the first to discover the man-killer fiend and man-eater fiend, a special professor at the Federation's Defense University. Although he didn't go there, if he was hired, why didn't he go to the Federation's Defense University? The Emperor looked at Gu Qing Shan and questioned. I had a lot of things to do at the time, so I didn't have time, Gu Qing Shan answered. Busy? The Emperor glanced at Anna. Anna rolled her eyes and looked away, as if saying, what does this have to do with me? But with her well-known personality, for her to act like this, it means that Gu Qing Shan was busy with something. You're a scientist. Then let me ask you, between the Freedom Federation and the Fuxi Empire, which country is doing better? The Emperor continued to ask. Anna was a bit nervous. She didn't expect the Emperor to be so aggressive. Every word he said was like a knife, not giving her any face at all. She took Gu Qing Shan's hand and was about to say something, but Gu Qing Shan squeezed her hand and signaled with her eyes that she didn't need to. Fuxi is better, Gu Qing Shan answered. Ah? What do you mean? The Emperor appeared interested. This young man doesn't seem like the type to flatter, so he probably didn't say that to get on my good side. That's what all the statistics for the past 10 years show, Gu Qing Shan very simply answered. Do you scientists only look at statistics? Shouldn't you protect the dignity of your Freedom Federation and say that the two countries aren't too different? The Emperor wasn't satisfied with this answer and questioned further. Science and the meaning of the existence of scientists is to understand the truth of the world, not to smooth things over, Gu Qing Shan answered. The Emperor's frown loosened, the coldness on his face melted a bit, replaced by a hint of a smile in his eyes. All of a sudden, he burst into laughter. As soon as he laughed, the tense atmosphere immediately loosened, the air began to flow, a warm breeze followed by the music. Everyone also laughed along. The Emperor looked at Empress. An interesting young man? Empress smiled and said, not only is he interesting, he's not simple at all. The Emperor stared at Gu Qing Shan like he's looking at a top-notch mech. He's very pleased with this young man. This is how a scientist should be, not spending their time on other things. The Federation used impartial goddess to suppress the Empire for a few dozen years, but now that the Empire has finally caught up, the Federation already has the newest mech technology. According to the relevant data, this technology is 15 years ahead of the Fuxi Empire. And all of this was made by this young man in front of him. And from the looks of it, his relationship with Anna is very good. If you ask me, being a special professor at the Federation's National Defense University isn't that interesting, you're right not to go. Chapter 263. Thank you, Your Majesty, but I have something more important to do right now. Gu Qing Shan turned to Anna. Anna was afraid that the Emperor would lose his temper, so she quickly walked towards Empress and held Empress's hand. I want to stay with him in the Federation for a while. Empress rubbed her face and asked in a low voice, Are you serious? Anna blushed and nodded. Empress smiled bitterly. But the Fuxi Empire just announced that they're protecting you and you ran away. That's a bit hard to say. It's fine, just let me stay with him for a while, Anna said coquettishly. Empress could only smile bitterly, but didn't say anything else. This matter can be considered small, but it can also be considered big. It's up to the Emperor to decide. The Emperor quickly glanced at the crowd. A military officer wearing a ceremonial hat was silently nodding his head. The Emperor pondered. A person's emotions can't be faked. She really does want to be with him. Seems like little Anna has fallen in love this time. Which means, Anna doesn't want to leave Fuxi and join the Freedom Federation. It's good that it's not like that. At this point, Empress turned around, trying to smooth things over, and smiled. Your Majesty, look at how mischievous Anna is, the Emperor laughed. Although I'm in charge of the entire empire, I can't stop two young hearts. But, I have a small suggestion. Please tell me, Your Majesty, Gu Qingshan said. Anna is my niece, you can't take her away. After a while, bring her back to Fuxi, I'll treat you well, the Emperor kindly said. He glanced at Empress. Empress immediately said, 2 weeks from now, it'll be the hottest time of the year. When you arrive, we'll go spend the summer at the palace in the north. The weather there isn't bad, we can hunt during the day, and have a ball at night. If the weather is good, we can even use a telescope to observe space monsters. The Emperor nodded in satisfaction and asked, Scientist Gu, what do you think of this idea? Gu Qingshan bowed and said, I heard the Empire's imperial deer is quite good, I definitely want to try it. The Emperor looked at her in surprise and smiled. I didn't think you'd be such a connoisseur. When you leave, bring a case back with you. Thank you, Your Majesty. Okay, then come back together in the middle of next month. The Empress clapped her hands with a smile, and the matter was settled. Little Anna, what do you say? The Emperor tilted his head and asked with a smile. I also want a crate of imperial deer. We'll return to Fuxi after that. Anna licked her lips. The Emperor laughed and pointed at her. Forget about it. Do you really think I don't know who took my 80-year-old imperial deer wine? Anna was laughed at by the Emperor in public, but she raised her chin, not showing the slightest bit of fear. Give me half of your liquor, she looked at Gu Qingshan and said. Let's drink together, then we'll go to Fuxi. His Majesty the Emperor won't go broke because of us, Gu Qingshan said. Let's drink together, then we'll go to Fuxi. Your Majesty won't go broke because of us, Gu Qingshan said. Such an important talent was brought into the embrace of the Empire through such a method. This made him feel very good. An official came up and spoke in a low voice. Your Majesty, it's time for the banquet. The Emperor took Empress's hand and stood up. You can leave after dinner. It's my honor. Can I call my companions? Gu Qingshan asked. Come on, all of you. The more the merrier, the Emperor said and left with the Empress. The crowd followed the Emperor away. It was now that Anna breathed out in relief and glared at Gu Qingshan. Why aren't you nervous at all? The Emperor is also a human, Gu Qingshan replied. But he's not only the Emperor, he's also the strongest professionist in the entire empire, perhaps even the world. Then he's still a human, Gu Qingshan replied. He silently recalled his Shifu's fighting style. Anna looked at him, seeing how calm and collected he was, she was even more satisfied. Did you know? Even the Pope of the Holy Church has to be vigilant in front of him at all times. I wasn't being rude to him either. All right, you did well. Make sure to maintain this standard during the banquet later. Anna pinched his ear and said, I'll call Zhang Young-ho over first. After waiting for so long. He's probably hungry, Gu Qingshan helplessly said as his ear was pinched. On the other side, the Emperor stood in front of a large mirror, letting 2 maids help him change into a new suit. Did you find out? He asked. I've found out. The several dozen technological cores called Life Structure Method all came from Gu Qingshan, an official replied. I really have to say, he's a mech genius, the official couldn't help but praise. Such a talent staying in the Federation is a waste, the Emperor commented. A guard quickly came in, knelt down on one knee and reported. Gu Qingshan and Anna have brought another man into the banquet. Who is that? His research assistant? The Emperor asked. No, it's an aristocrat from the 9 lords of the Federation, called Zhang Young-ho, the guard replied. 9 lords. The Emperor scoffed. This person was sent by the 9 lords to recruit Gu Qingshan? No, this is Zhang Young-ho's personal information. Please take a look, Your Majesty. The Emperor received the holobrain and skimmed through it. He raised his eyebrows in surprise, saying, Betrayed the 9 lords? Hitman organization? Who would have thought that the descendants of those people would have such a talent? The Emperor gave the holobrain to the official. The official quickly skimmed through and commented. The two of them being together means that Gu Qingshan isn't interested in the Nine Lords. Impartial goddess is already a pearl covered in dust. The Emperor nodded. Right now, the most advanced mech technology should be in the hands of the Empire, not those idiots from the Nine Lords. As he finished putting on his suit, the two maids bowed and left. Go and prepare, the Emperor told the official. After the banquet, we'll return home. The official was surprised. You're not going to participate in the next meeting? No, I only came out for a walk. Now that I've found something, I can go back, the Emperor casually added. As for the genetic modification serum, the Empire can do whatever they want, there's no need to discuss it with others. Yes, the official left. There was no one else around. The Emperor stared at himself in the mirror, muttering, as long as they're useful, they should serve the Empire, that's their destiny. He straightened his collar and strode out. After the banquet, the Fuxi Emperor didn't continue to participate in the meeting and instead left the Federation. The Fuxi interstellar warship he was riding on took off from the conference center, ignoring all the calls and connection requests from the Federation, and directly left. The president spoke to Gu Qingshan, his tone a bit helpless. He's probably here to gain fame and benefits. Once he's done with his business, he'll leave, the president said. Right, did Princess Anna really stay behind for you? Gu Qingshan glanced at Anna and answered. This is Her Royal Highness' decision, I can't change her mind, the president said. The Fuxi Emperor isn't here, we can't reach a worldwide treaty. I'm afraid this meeting won't be able to continue. I agree with you, Gu Qingshan said. They talked for a bit more before the call ended. Gu Qingshan turned off the phone and looked up at Anna. The Medici clan, you're the only one left? He asked. That's right, Anna answered. So in name, I'm the Holy Empire, Gu Qingshan asked. Does the Holy Empire still have the highest purity God's chosen awakening serum in stock? We don't. Making one of those things costs half of the national treasury, so after I used it, I haven't made any more, Anna casually answered. They still don't have any in stock. Why is the smiting evolution quest so hard? Gu Qingshan felt a bit of a headache. He thought for a bit, then asked, did the Holy Church take the recipe for the God's chosen awakening serum? At this point, Anna's face finally regained a bit of spirit. At most, they found half of it. Why? Because my father gave me the other half. In the entire world, I'm the only one who has the other half of the recipe. No wonder the Fuxi Emperor wants you to return as soon as possible. What, you need this thing? Yes. After that, you'll really help me? Seeing Anna's anxious expression, Gu Qingshan suddenly felt like she did something wrong. This might be her last bargaining chip. But as soon as she made up her mind to stay, I immediately asked for it. Idiot. Gu Qingshan silently scolded herself. Come with me. He walked towards the floor-to-ceiling window. Anna followed him and silently went in front of the floor-to-ceiling window. I'm sorry, I didn't consider your feelings, Gu Qingshan said. Anna looked straight at him without saying a word. Perhaps you feel like you're staking it all on this one throw, but you've already made your choice. I'm still making you worry. That's my fault. I should have let you know about me a long time ago. Saying so, Gu Qingshan pointed at the scenery outside the floor-to-ceiling window. The International Convention Center's location is very good. From here, you can see everything from the center of the city all the way to the outside. Anna looked outside the window where he was pointing, a bit confused. It's still dark outside, the entire capital is shrouded in twilight, the light is dimming as the sun sets. It's getting dark, I can't really see where you're pointing. Saying so, Anna still tried to look outside the window, trying to find what Gu Qingshan was pointing at. What I want you to see isn't a certain place. Gu Qingshan smiled and continued. Please give us a bit of light. Following his words, from the International Convention Center in front of their window, across schools, factories, government buildings, the capital's hospitals, shopping malls, cinemas, stadiums, hotels, parks, squares, bridges, all the way to the barely visible twilight. Anything that can give off light, whether it's street lamps, holobrains, car headlights, shuttle lights, skyscrapers, the lights of every household, even mechs passing by, interstellar battleships flying in the sky, all of humanity's lighting devices lit up in an instant. This was a vast and boundless sea of light. Chapter 264. As Anna looked at the sea of light outside the window, she couldn't help but cover her mouth with her hand. The blinding light shone through the large glass window, illuminating her, making her blank expression even more obvious. "How is that possible?" she muttered and couldn't help but look at Gu Qingshan. "You can extinguish it now," Gu Qingshan spoke again. All of a sudden, all the lights were extinguished within a second, as if they had agreed on it. The gentle twilight painted the entire city in a faint yellow. The world once again returned to silence. The sea of light disappeared so quickly that it almost made people think that this was only a brief moment of beauty, or maybe it was only a figment of their imagination. Zhang Yongho poked Gu Qingshan, silently asking, "Isn't this a bit too much?" Impartial Goddess cut in, "Mr. Zhang Yongho, this is only the annual fire safety inspection, there's no need to be so surprised. You've even learned how to come up with excuses." Zhang Yongho muttered. Anna couldn't believe her eyes just now, and now she couldn't believe her ears. After thinking for a while, she asked hesitantly, "Just now, after you gave the order, Impartial Goddess did it?" Gu Qingshan nodded. Zhang Yongho also patted Gu Qingshan's shoulder, saying, "That's right, Lady Impartial is this brat's comrade-in-arms friend." Gu Qingshan glared at him. Zhang Yongho shrugged, gesturing that he was wrong. Anna opened her eyes wide, then loudly exclaimed, "Oh my God! So you're the murder clown?" "You guessed wrong," Gu Qingshan smiled and said. Zhang Yongho quickly made up for his mistake just now and said in a very supportive tone, "That's right, the murder clown is only one of his subordinates." Anna looked at the two of them, stunned, barely able to utter a single word. "You guys, we're currently fighting against the game of Eternal, you're welcome to join us," Gu Qingshan said. Anna was taken aback, and she suddenly glowed with an unprecedented spirit. The entire world was shrouded in fear caused by the murder clown, but who could have known that the mastermind behind this was standing right in front of them, not to mention the man that they fell in love with? It turned out that he was already so powerful. What other powers does he have that I do not know? With this kind of power, I can really help in reviving the Holy Empire. Most importantly, he didn't lie to me. Anna finally showed a smile that hasn't been seen for a long time and said, "Regarding the murder clown, everyone thought that it was the same as the game of Eternal, an unknown power. Who would have thought that it was actually you? When we defeat the game of Eternal, I will fulfill my promise to you," Gu Qingshan very sincerely said. Anna's eyes were sparkling, but she didn't say anything. "Don't worry, I have the ability to fulfill my promise," Gu Qingshan added. Anna looked at him, and the corners of her mouth slowly curved. "What should we call this party?" she asked very seriously. Gu Qingshan and Zhang Yongho exchanged glances, seeing the helplessness in each other's eyes. Just the game name alone had already caused the four of them to go crazy, so the name of the party was still stuck there. Just like Liao Xing said, they couldn't even introduce themselves to others. We don't have a name yet," Gu Qingshan said guiltily. "They don't even have a name?" Anna was a bit surprised and asked again, "Who else is in our party?" "A very strong man-killer fiend," Gu Qingshan answered. "And a very good old pervert," Zhang Yongho added. Anna glared at the two of them and continued to ask, "Do we have a fixed place?" For some reason, Gu Qingshan and Zhang Yongho both sighed in relief. "Don't worry, we have a place," Gu Qingshan confirmed. "That's right, we usually stay in the sky," Zhang Yongho added. "When we're resting, we'll fly down to eat and sleep," Gu Qingshan added. Anna was feeling more and more unreliable, so she patiently asked, "Other than what we said just now, what else do we do as a party?" "Make a game," the two of them answered at the same time. Anna felt like she was about to go crazy, but seeing how sincere the two of them were, She had to hold it in for a while before she could. Finally, she sighed. Why do I have a bad feeling about this? Oh well, maybe I should drink something to try and understand you guys. Gu Qingshan and Zhang Young-ho were a bit surprised. There's a new member joining us. Shouldn't we all get together for a drink to celebrate? Anna raised her eyebrows and asked. I think we should, Do you want coffee or tea? Zhang Young-ho nodded in agreement and got up to prepare a drink. Anna turned around and looked at Gu Qingshan. The Emperor's liquor hasn't been delivered yet, Gu Qingshan said. Anna clenched her fists tightly, already on the verge of exploding. Fortunately, impartial goddess voice suddenly came. There's an outdoor bar on the 3rd floor, wait here for a bit, I'll go get some good liquor. Gu Qingshan immediately went outside. If I don't prepare liquor when Anna is already here, that's a bit unreasonable. I'll go get a few glasses. Zhang Young-ho also followed her out. The door was closed. No one was around. Anna thought for a while, then helplessly shook her head. Make a game? What exactly is going on? Gu Qingshan walked towards the outdoor bar while talking to Zhang Young-ho. What kind of liquor does the princess drink? Fruit liquor? Champagne? Or red wine? Zhang Young-ho asked. No, she drinks hard liquor, anything we can drink, she drinks even better than you and I, Gu Qingshan answered. Suddenly, the hollow brain in his breast pocket lit up. Impartial goddess spoke. Sir, there's something I'm not sure if I should report to you. There's a time when you can't make up your mind? Gu Qingshan casually asked. Because it's a personal matter, impartial goddess answered. Whose personal matter? Gu Qingshan asked. Sir President, impartial goddess answered. Is there something wrong with his body? Gu Qingshan immediately asked. There isn't, impartial goddess answered. It's fine as long as there's nothing wrong with his body. I don't like to pry into other people's private matters, Gu Qingshan answered. He suddenly stopped. Tell me, I want to hear what it is. Gu Qingshan was a bit concerned. Sir President has been forgetful a lot lately. He needs me to complete some important tasks, impartial goddess answered. Forgetful? Gu Qingshan was a bit confused. That's right, he only remembers things from the last 3 years very clearly. What about things from before? I feel like he's forgotten a lot. How long has this been going on? 5 days, it hasn't been that long. Let's find a professional doctor. The Federation's medical expertise has already cured Alzheimer's and forgetfulness. You don't need to ask him about this. Just arrange for a doctor. Gu Qingshan calmed down and said. Got it, if it still doesn't work, let me know right away, Gu Qingshan added. Chapter 265. Later that day, Gu Qingshan, Anna and Zhang Young-ho returned to the mansion on top of the mountain. My God! My God! Even though I saw the news, I still can't believe it. Liao Xing rushed to open the door. He looked at Princess Anna, carefully looked at the beautiful face of the princess, and then his eyes fell on Anna's outstanding figure. With a rare look of excitement on his face, he loudly called out, Princess Anna, Your Highness, I am your guardian warrior, please rest assured and stay here. That seems to be my mansion. Zhang Young-ho was annoyed. Liao Xing didn't care about him at all. He bowed slightly and extended his hand toward Anna. This was the Holy Empire's hand-kissing ceremony. But according to the rules of etiquette, Anna should be the one to reach out her hand first before the other party can hold her hand and kiss it. Pardon me for asking, but who is this? Anna didn't reach out her hand right away, instead asked Gu Qingshan in a low voice. Before Gu Qingshan could say anything, Zhang Young-ho already answered. The old pervert I told you about before. Nice to meet you. Anna didn't reach out her hand and only smiled. Liao Xing still reached out his hand, as if he wouldn't give up until he kissed her hand. He kept saying, Your Highness, you are so beautiful, please allow me to clean your bedroom and wash your clothes, I'll do a great job. My bedroom and clothes? Anna asked. Yes, I'm your servant, a loyal servant, please leave it to me, Liao Xing quickly answered. Anna scowled. Gu Qingshan felt a headache coming on and was about to say something, but Anna stopped her. A servant, huh? Very well, Anna squinted her eyes and said. But if you dare to enter my bedroom or touch my clothes, then… She casually grabbed the metal handle on the door, melted it into a metal ball, then stretched it into a thin metal rod. As Anna held the metal rod in her hand, it quickly turned bright red. The air around them was warped by the high temperature of the metal rod. Anna placed the iron rod vertically in front of her and stuck out her tongue to lick it for a while before finishing the second half of her sentence. I will let you know what it feels like to have this iron drill enter your body. She exuded a dangerous aura. Liao Xing was dumbfounded. A gust of cold wind blew. Liao Xing looked at the shining iron rod and couldn't help but shiver. His expression suddenly changed, and he said solemnly, Your Majesty, no one dares to touch your things. I swear on my honor that no one here dares to blaspheme your dignity. That's good. We'll probably get along better. As Anna spoke, she pinched the metal rod back into the doorknob and stuck it back onto the door. They entered the room. Where's Yi Feili? Gu Qingshan asked. Not long after, he left again, saying he was going to kill someone, Liao Xing said. Not bad. You're quite hard-working. Gu Qingshan praised. Murder. Are you encouraging your team members to kill each other? Anna asked, unable to understand. He's the strongest man-killer fiend in the world. He needs to kill to become stronger. So we're now on the side of the man-killer fiends? Anna continued to ask. No, that's not it. Gu Qingshan tried very hard to explain everything. Then, if the strongest man-killer fiend in the world is in charge of being the murder clown, then what about this old pervert? Anna pointed at Liao Xing. He's called Liao Xing, Gu Qingshan answered. The Liao Xing from 30 years ago? He doesn't look like him, Anna said, a bit surprised. It's him. Impartial Goddess gave him plastic surgery. Mr. Zhang Yongho, I know you're good friends with Gu Qingshan, but I don't know what you're doing, Anna asked Zhang Yongho. Her tone was a bit more polite. Zhang Yongho tossed a coin to her. Anna caught it and looked. The front of the coin was carved with a vertical pupil, while the back was the number 0. Recognizing the coin, Anna was surprised. Number 0 of the Hunter Guild, so you're the boss. That's me, Zhang Yongho answered. Tossing the coin back, Anna nodded. Seems like you're not a swindler, she said. Of course not, you're welcome to join us, Gu Qingshan smiled. What do you need me to do? Just to be clear, I only know how to fight, Anna said. It's about the game. I need you to help me change this world's standard of strength, Gu Qingshan said. Standard of strength? What do you mean? Anna asked, intrigued. What's the standard of an elementalist? Do you remember? Don't look down on me, I can even memorize that, is that so? I'd like to hear more, Anna thought for a bit, then quickly said. Normally it's 5 stages, Earth of the 5 elements, first stage earthquake, second stage barricade, third stage earth flood, fourth stage star summoning, fifth stage all things collapse, metal of the 5 elements, first stage sharpness, second stage golden thread, third stage buzzing slash, fourth stage world division, fifth stage metal illumination, wood of the 5 elements, first stage vitality, second stage poison, third stage plague, fourth stage soul suffering, fifth stage life bestowal, water of the 5 elements, first stage fire, second stage frost, third stage silence, fourth stage lifeless, fifth stage seal, fire of the 5 elements, first stage flame, second stage raging flame, third stage magma, fourth stage splitting sun, fifth stage apocalypse, Anna pridefully said. I'm a splitting sun stage expert, Gu Qingshan continued. You've awakened the 5 elements, as well as God's chosen, a typical professionist, so I need you to learn a few things from me in preparation for the future. Learn things from you? The things I'm going to teach you will be very beneficial for your personal growth, Gu Qingshan sincerely said. Anna then showed a smile that wasn't a smile, crossed her arms and looked at Gu Qingshan. brat, when you're able to beat me, you can tell me to learn. Before she could finish, she felt a chill on her neck. A sword was lightly touching her neck, giving off a chilling sensation. Anna blinked, then looked at the sword, all the way to Gu Qingshan's hand. Gu Qingshan said, "You're very strong, very talented, but you've never properly cultivated. No one in this world has ever properly cultivated, so I'm going to teach you first." "That's not right, I was too careless just now, let's try again," Anna said. "Very well." Gu Qingshan put her sword away. Anna's entire body was covered in flames, then wielded a blade made of fire in her hand. "All right, let's see who's going to," she said. She felt a chill on her neck as the sword lightly touched her skin. Anna froze. Gu Qingshan held the sword and slowly said, "Your ability doesn't have the corresponding power to support it, and you're standing so close to me, I can kill you a few dozen times in a minute. How did you do that?" Anna asked. "If you're willing to learn from me, you can also learn such a technique." I didn't use my full strength just now." Anna was unconvinced. She looked around and said provocatively, "It's not convenient here, how about we go outside and spar?" "Very well, it's time for you to experience for yourself what the origin of power is." Gu Qingshan nodded. The two of them went outside. When the door opened, Yi Fei had just retracted her wings and flew down. "What's going on?" He looked at Anna, then at Gu Qingshan. Gu Qingshan introduced the two of them, then told Yi Fei, "You rest up first, we're going to spar for a bit, we'll be back soon." "Spar? Can I watch?" Yi Fei asked with interest. "Up to you." The three of them talked and left. Chapter 266. An empty field outside the mansion. Gu Qingshan and Anna stood a few dozen meters apart from each other, facing each other. Anna crossed her arms and raised her voice. "How about this, whoever wins gets to teach the other person's cultivation." "That's fine," Gu Qingshan replied. "I've never thought about taking you as my disciple." Anna couldn't help but chuckle. "But if I think about it, it's quite interesting." She unleashed flames from her body and shouted, "Manifest!" A long-handled black scythe appeared in her hand. While Anna was talking, she suddenly felt a chill on her neck. She looked down to see that the sword was resting firmly on her neck, while Gu Qingshan was standing behind her. Almost in the blink of an eye, Gu Qingshan had already arrived in front of her and retaliated. Anna froze. "No, I was too busy talking just now, let's do it again." She was unconvinced. "Fine," Gu Qingshan returned. The two of them stood still again. Anna drew her black scythe, and created an invisible ripple in the void of space. 3 skeletons covered in pitch-black flames jumped out of the ripples. Anna was still worried, so she stabbed her scythe into the ground and shouted, "Flame Death God!" Boom! The black flames manifested into a giant black skull that enveloped her. "Come on, I'm serious this time," Anna said. Gu Qingshan flew forward, then suddenly turned into a white crescent moon sword phantom that drew a beautiful arc in the air. Sha! The 3 black skeletons crumbled and disappeared along with the sharp gust of wind. "Death God! Within the flames, I summon thee." Seeing that the situation wasn't good, Anna clasped her hands together and prayed. The giant black skull that enveloped her trembled and began to rise. The terrifying figure was about to appear. But a sword reached into the black flames from behind Anna and stopped right in front of her heart. In just a few breaths' worth of time, the victor had been decided. Anna was stunned. The black skulls on her body instantly disappeared. The other 3 were also dumbfounded. How could this be? The famous Inferno Grim Reaper was defeated before he could even unleash his power. Jang Young-ho mumbled, unable to accept it. This was Anna. In the entire world, there weren't many people who were stronger than her. Dark Summoning's Peak God's chosen skill, combined with the Burning Sun stage's 5 elemental fire, dark and fire mixed together, giving birth to a terrifying power. However, in front of Gu Qingshan, there was no time to use this power. He won in such a strange way. "TSK, this kid is so annoying. It's hard for me to fight with him." I always feel like I have the power, but I can't use it, Yi Fei Li said with a sigh. This time, Anna was finally convinced. She was just a little grumpy, but she wasn't really stupid. If it had been a battle of life and death just now, Gu Qingshan would have killed her countless times. Anna retracted the black flames around her body and asked in surprise, "How did you manage to kill 3 of my black flame skeletons so quickly? I didn't even have time to use the skill after that." Seeing her admit defeat, Gu Qingshan silently sighed in relief. Anna is too strong. It's a good thing I have a ground shrink, divine skill, otherwise if I had to fight her head-on, I wouldn't be able to do anything. Swords don't have eyes, so I might have hurt her. Because the power I use comes from the world's origin, while your skeletons are nothing but flames without a source, so it's very easy to extinguish them, Gu Qingshan explained. Flames without a source. Anna caught the main point and asked, "If you say it like that, then what is a flame with a source?" Gu Qingshan put her hand on her shoulder and said, "Use that skill again." Anna did as she was told. Gu Qingshan took the chance and infused her spirit energy into her body. Boom, 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 boom. A total of 5 black flame skeletons appeared from the void of space. They weren't as thin as last time, their bodies and bones were a lot thicker. They were also wearing half-body armor made of black flame, as well as weapons manifested in their hands. As soon as the black flame skeletons landed, they looked around before gathering in front of Anna. They were full of spirit, as if they were alive. "It feels so miraculous, as if there's an endless supply of power for me to use." Anna felt it and commented in surprise. "Yes, this is spirit energy," Gu Qingshan replied. "What is spirit energy?" "It's a certain kind of power. The power that can support you to unleash your skills," Gu Qingshan explained. "A professionist is like a flying shuttle whose engine is constantly being upgraded, but because they don't have the support of a large amount of energy, their fighting strength can't be fully unleashed. Let's do it again. This time I'm going to unleash my full spirit energy, alright." Anna swung her scythe again and slashed through the void of space. Gu Qingshan circulated all the spirit energy in her body and infused it. The void of space rumbled, giving off a resounding sound. 1, 2, 3. A total of 30 black flame skeletons appeared on the empty ground. Such a lineup could easily start a small-scale massacre in a war. "How is that possible?" Anna exclaimed in shock. With her original strength, she could only unleash 4 black flame skeletons at full power. "This is your true strength," Gu Qingshan commented. "Why is there such a big gap?" Anna asked. "Because I infused spirit energy into your skills," Gu Qingshan replied. "Is infusing spirit energy your god's chosen skill?" "No, spirit energy is the most basic law of this world, the purest form of power in this world. Anyone can learn to use it," Gu Qingshan continued to explain. "Elemental, God's chosen, even martial thaumaturgy, all of them require spirit energy to unleash their true power." Anna went silent for a bit, then said, "I've never heard of such a thing before. Spirit energy, have any of you heard of it before?" She looked at the other 3. The other 3 all shook their heads. Zhang Yongho spoke. "This is also the first time we've heard of it," Gu Qingshan spoke. "It's not your fault after all, the world's understanding of power is too shallow." Anna asked, "Can I really learn to use spirit energy?" "Of course, I'll teach you how to sense spirit energy later on," Gu Qingshan answered. "Then do we still need to be your disciples?" Zhang Yongho cut in. Gu Qingshan quickly waved her hand. "No need, I'm not your Shifu, and I won't take you as my disciples. Although I can't teach you my own things, I can think of something else to help you learn how to use spirit energy. Why can't you take me as a disciple?" Anna was even more interested in this. "Because I haven't told my Shifu about this yet, so I can't take you as a disciple," Gu Qingshan answered very seriously. Taking in disciples is a very serious matter for a sect. It was a taboo in the cultivation world to take in disciples without permission from the sect and to spread the sect's cultivation method. Anyone who does this will be severely punished by the sect. This is a universally acknowledged iron law of the cultivation world. Although the 100 Flowers Fairy treats her disciples very well, so even if Gu Qingshan does something wrong, she probably won't be punished too heavily. But Gu Qingshan really doesn't want the 100 Flowers Fairy to be disappointed in her. You have a Shifu? Anna hesitantly asked. I do, Gu Qingshan answered. Is your Shifu really strong? Zhang Yongho was intrigued. Even if all the strongest combatants in the world were to gather together, they wouldn't even be enough for her to fight with one hand, Gu Qingshan praised. The four of them looked at each other in disbelief. There's nothing wrong here, is there? Liao Xing pointed at his head. Of course, Gu Qingshan gave him a sidelong glance. Yi Feili suddenly spoke. I believe you. The other three looked at him. Chapter 267. Gu Qingshan pulled the topic back and said, It's not just teaching you how to use spirit energy, there's also another important thing, which is the reclassification of cultivation realms. How do you want to do it? Zhang Yongho asked. Using the level of spirit energy usage to determine strength, Gu Qingshan answered. The current strength system is also very useful. Do you want to discard it all? No, let's use fire as an example. The first stage is fire, the second stage is flame, the third stage is magma, the fourth stage is burning sun, the fifth stage is apocalypse. These are all the types of skills that a professionist can use, but the ability to use skills doesn't represent a person's full fighting strength. Once everyone has learned how to use spirit energy, these standards will become secondary and can only be used as a secondary standard to measure fighting strength. That's why. The most important thing is still spirit energy, he explained, because the higher the level of spirit energy usage, the more powerful attacks a person can unleash. A cultivator who's reached the peak of spirit energy usage, even if they don't have any outstanding skills in God's chosen, martial arts, or elementals, they can easily beat the crap out of their opponents. For example, if two people are both burning sun stage elementals, the cultivator with spirit energy can easily defeat the other. Professionist, the classification of professionists isn't very strict, but spirit energy represents the power of battle, so from now on, we should use spirit energy to determine strength, he concluded. Hearing that, Zhang Yongho couldn't help but ask, Then can we learn now? Of course we can, Gu Qingshan smiled. While they were talking, Gu Qingshan's personal hollow brain suddenly lit up. Sir, there's still 40 minutes until the game of Eternal begins, Impartial Goddess reported. 12 hours. Yes, alright then, seems like we'll have to stop for now. Everyone pack up, we're leaving, Gu Qingshan said. Where are we going? Anna asked. The S.W. Divine Temple Interstellar Fortress. Yi Feili, come help me out a bit, Liao Xing called out. Got it, Yi Feili replied. After a while, Yi Feili came out with a suitcase while Liao Xing carried a light backpack. What is it? Gu Qingshan asked. Some fast food, some spices, and of course my pillow and massager. Don't look at me like that, the research on the miniature warp device is so important that I need to take care of myself, Liao Xing said. Anna directly went to Gu Qingshan and asked for a small starry sky battleship to carry her things. How can a person use so many things? Yi Feili said, unable to understand. Anna looked at him in surprise and said, I only brought my personal belongings. Gu Qingshan looked at them and shook her head helplessly. Suddenly, Zhang Yongho patted his shoulder and whispered, I just got a bottle of 40-year-old royal salute from the auction house. Gu Qingshan's eyes lit up and whispered, Did you bring it? If I go get it, Yi Feili will definitely notice. He only looks at the price when he drinks. I'm afraid he'll finish it in one gulp if I tell him the price. Your liquor is in the room? Yep, I'll go. Saying so, he headed back to the mansion. About half an hour later, when they were standing on the S.W. Divine Temple, the game of Eternal was about to begin. The old voice came again. Humans of this world, the apocalypse has come, calamities and calamities are endless, your fate is like an ant in a flood, insignificant and out of your control. Do you want to change your fate? Struggle against fate, advance through slaughter, only the strong will be able to survive. If you want to become eternal, then challenge it, once you succeed, you shall obtain great power. Saying so, the old voice's tone suddenly changed. There is an evil clown that constantly obstructs humanity's path to eternal life, shattering humanity's hope of escaping the apocalypse, mercilessly slaughtering innocent brave warriors. We will not tolerate such a thing. To restore order to the competition, to ensure the safety of the game's champion, I hereby announce that the game of Eternal is about to upgrade. The upgrade time cannot be estimated at the moment, estimated to be completed in 1 to 3 days after the game has been upgraded. You will immediately be able to enter the game to experience our new functions. Saying so, the old voice disappeared. The few of them were all stunned. No one could have thought that it would be like this. What is it trying to do? Zhang Yongho asked in confusion. It's probably gathering its power, Gu Qingshan judged. In our gaming world, this is called storing up a big move, Yi Feili very vividly explained. The Freedom Federation. Chongning County. The Lake Island. A grand banquet was being held. Night had fallen, the clouds hung low, the wind was getting colder and colder, but the atmosphere in the banquet hall was gradually warming up. Famous people from all over the world were gathered here, chatting and laughing. After the banquet, the Federation's most famous orchestra began to perform. The curtains of the long-awaited ball had finally begun. The musicians were carefully playing their instruments, making sure that the music was loud enough for everyone to hear, but not enough to disturb their whispers. From time to time, a man would walk up to an aristocratic young lady and curtsied. When she also curtsied, the two of them would step onto the dance floor. But most of the handsome young men didn't immediately step onto the dance floor, instead choosing to watch. They were looking at the crowd, searching for the female lead of today's ball. But today's female lead wasn't here. She was outside the banquet hall, far away from the entire mansion, deep inside the Lake Island, on a quiet and secluded training platform. Su Cher was sitting alone at the edge of the platform. There was no one around her, only the blazing angel was silently standing next to her. Su Cher didn't go to the ball, only sitting there by herself, staring blankly at the hollow brain in her hand. She was staring blankly at the news on the screen. Her eyes were straight, staring at the headlines without moving. The capital's International Conference Center. The Fuxi Emperor's Grand Banquet. With a bright smile on her face, Anna was holding Gu Qingshan's hand as they walked towards the Emperor. Su Cher was still pressing the button on her holobrain, so the screen was still there. Blazing Angel, I have a question, she said. Miss Su Cher, please speak, the Blazing Angel said. Can you connect to Impartial Goddess? Normally I won't, but if you have a request, I can connect to her, the Blazing Angel said. Then please help me connect to the goddess. I have something I want to talk to her about. Very well. A second later, a deep and solemn female voice was heard. I am Impartial Goddess, Federation Aristocrat Lady Su Cher. Following your call, I have come to the Lake Island. Impartial Goddess, I want to ask you something, Su Cher said. Federation Aristocrat Su Cher is a direct descendant of the Nine Lords, as well as a person that the leader of the Federation, Gu Qingshan, requested to take care of. I will do my best to answer your question. What is Qingshan Ji doing right now? Sir Gu Qingshan's matter is top secret, so I can't reveal it. I suggest that Su Cher directly ask him, that would be the best method. I'm afraid to ask him, that's why I'm asking you, Su Cher sighed. She silently thought for a bit, then asked, why did Princess Anna appear together with Qingshan Ji? I believe it's because the two of them have formed a working relationship after coming to an agreement. Impartial Goddess answered naturally. Working relationship? Hearing these words, Su Cher's entire being felt alive again. She hurriedly asked, what kind of working relationship? Anna has joined Sir Guqing Shan's team, impartial goddess continued. Due to your relationship with Sir Guqing Shan, I have already exceeded your authority to answer joined Qing Shan Ji's team. Su Cher thought for a bit, then asked, What does Qing Shan Ji's team do? Top secret, cannot reveal, impartial goddess answered. Su Cher thought for a bit, then said, As the eldest descendant of the Nine Lords, I request to see the Holy Empire's Princess Anna's personal information. Chapter 268. Anna's picture appeared on the holobrain, as well as her situation. Su Cher looked at it for a long time, muttering, She became a fourth-stage elementalist much earlier than I did, has a mystic-type god's chosen skill, a noble status, she even saved my life. Su Cher shook her head in pain, muttering to herself, I really can't compare to her. Tears flowed down her cheeks, followed by words of sorrow. Not only is she stronger than me, but she can also go find Qing Shan Ji whenever she wants. But I can't even leave my house. What a complete failure. At this time, a hurried female voice came from afar. All the main descendants of the Nine Lords are waiting for you, but you're hiding here. Madame Su lifted her skirt and quickly walked over, her expression a bit worried. Shui, you're already an adult, don't throw a tantrum like a child. Su Cher wiped her tears and spoke. I'm not throwing a tantrum, mother, Madame Su questioned her. Then tell me, why don't you want to go out and see everyone? Su Cher didn't hear a thing, her eyes were still staring at the screen, subconsciously switching back to the news feed. Her gaze fell on Anna and Guqing Shan, not moving away for a long time. After waiting for a while, and not getting a reply from her daughter, her mother finally got a bit impatient. Shui, if you don't go out, I'll stop your card. That way you won't be able to help those smelly poor people anymore. Su Cher turned off her holobrain, turned around and stared at her mother. Mother, what do you think? She asked. What do I think? I should be the one asking you what do you think? Madame Su was annoyed. All the famous heroes of the Nine Lords are here for you to choose from, but you don't want to go out. They're only here for the Blazing Angel. The Blazing Angel is Qing Shan Ji's masterpiece, but you look down on him. Why is that? Su Cher was confused and asked. It's not that I look down on him, but you're destined to marry a main descendant of the Nine Lords. Why? Mrs. Su subconsciously avoided this topic and said, The people your father and I invited are all supportive of us. If the marriage is successful, they will support your father to become the next head of the Su family. Mother, Grandpa will be disappointed if you do this. Don't mention that old fart. He actually hasn't died yet, truly unlucky. Madame Su said. Su Cher stood up and walked towards Madame Su. Mother, I have a suggestion. You? Come on, I'm at the age where I can scheme people, but you still don't know anything. Because of this, there is one thing that you still don't understand. Mrs. Su looked at her daughter and felt that she was a little different today. Su Cher said, You're looking for support from outsiders everywhere, but you've forgotten the most important thing. What is it? Madame Su's expression changed. If I was strong enough, I wouldn't need to sell my daughter in exchange for temporary power. Su Foreign snapped, What are you talking about? What do you mean by selling your daughter? We are doing this for your own good. For my own good? Of course, because of her excitement, Madame Su's tone changed a bit. Your father is about to become the head of the Su family, and you, as the most famous young lady of the family, will marry the most promising scion of the Nine Lords. What's so bad about that? Su Cher retorted. I can't even do what I want. What's so good about that? Madame Su was already angry and loudly shouted. Think about it, how many young ladies of the Nine Lords in history were able to pick and choose as many direct descendants of the Nine Lords as they please, and you're still not satisfied? At that time, our Su family will become one of the most influential families of the Nine Lords. No, Mother, you've gone mad, all this power is just an illusion, you can't rely on it. Su Cher shook her head and continued. Other than scheming and scheming, you don't have any real talents, and your cultivation is so weak that you can't even show it in public. That's why Grandpa has been hesitating about whether or not to let you inherit the family." Madame Sue laughed triumphantly. "Unfortunately, our Sue family only has one direct descendant. Your father is the only one left. Even if the old man wants to change the family tree and find someone else to inherit, it's already too late." Sue Cher nodded and sighed. "That's right, fine, I'll just go see Grandpa." Sue Cher ignored Madame Sue's shouts and left the training platform. She went through the courtyard, past the banquet hall and the bustling crowd, ignoring the men who came to talk to her. "Big sis, where are you going?" A man came up and grabbed her wrist. When Sue Cher turned around, she saw that it was the son of the Sue family's second branch, Sue. "I'm going to see Grandpa. On the other hand, don't you think your actions are a bit inappropriate in this kind of situation?" Sue Cher scowled. Sue let go of her hand and smiled apologetically. "It's just that you didn't show up, making my friends wait for so long." He pointed at a place behind him where a few young nobles were standing. "Come with me to see everyone. After all, they're all here because of you." "No, I still have something to do." Sue Cher turned around and left. "Don't refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit, big sis." Sue put his hands in his pockets and casually said, "If you leave, I'll throw all the girls you've saved into a certain place." Sue Cher stopped. She slowly turned around to look at her younger brother. Sue turned around and smiled at the group, signaling that he'll take care of it soon. "Big sis, come with me." Sue took 2 steps back. Sue Cher stayed silent and didn't move. Seeing that, Sue was a bit impatient and turned around. "It'll be the same as the last few times. I'm only going to talk to them and dance with them. What are you hesitating for?" Sue Cher still didn't move. She suddenly reached her hand out and touched her head, as if she was trying to imitate a certain moment when someone had lightly touched her head. "It's very strange. Mother is the same, and you are also the same," Sue Cher suddenly said. She kept shaking her head as if denying something. "Just because I'm helping the poor, you think you can use that to control me? Aren't we family?" Sue chuckled and gestured behind him. One of his subordinates came up. "Young master, you were the one who found out about this. Take some people with you and bring those girls to that place." Sue turned to Sue Cher. "Until our young miss is willing to come with me to meet my friends." Sue Cher was a bit surprised. "Little brother, why do you have to force me?" "You're the one who forced me." Sue felt victory was in his grasp, so he smirked and ordered his subordinate. "Go, do it now." The subordinate responded and was about to leave. Bam! With a clear sound, blood splattered all over the pure white floor, a shocking sight to behold. The noble Sue family's main hall had been through countless years without being stained with dirt, but today it was soaked in blood. A large hole appeared in the subordinate's chest as he fell to the ground and died. The hall was filled with screams and screams. Sue Cher pulled her hand back, silently crying. "Why do you have to force me?" she once again muttered. Sue was stunned. He had never seen his sister fight before, and he knew that she had never killed anything alive before. But now, she killed someone in front of everyone. Sue Cher covered her face with both hands and silently cried for a while. Chapter 269. "Since I've already killed someone, I'm not afraid of killing more," Sue Cher muttered to herself. Sue couldn't help but take a step back. Sue Cher tilted her head and looked at Sue. "Little brother, did you forget that I'm a 4th stage wind elemental professionist? What makes you think I'll let you do whatever you want? Is it because we're related by blood that you think I won't do anything to you? But if being related by blood really does work, why would you do this to me?" The entire banquet hall went silent. Everyone looked at Sue Cher, then at the corpse on the ground. "You, as the eldest daughter of Sue family, you killed someone in front of everyone." Sue's expression had already changed. This was no longer the kind and easily manipulated sister he knew. He took a few steps back, his legs trembling uncontrollably. As the eldest daughter of Su family, if I don't do anything when someone threatens me, that would be shameful. As Su Cher continued, she seemed to have fallen into a strange state. Why do you think I'm easy to bully? Because my grades have always been good? Or because I'm helping the poor? Or because I've done nothing but cultivate? She muttered. She walked towards Su Wen. Su Wen's teeth were clattering. He took a few steps back, rolled on the ground, then quickly crawled back. What are you doing? A gentle male voice called out. Everyone turned to look, only to see the pillar of the Su family's main branch, Su Cher's father, Su Wenxing. Shui, what kind of situation is this? You're committing murder in front of everyone. He nonchalantly scolded. Su Cher looked at her father and very seriously answered, because a mere follower dared to threaten me, asking me to act according to his will. Su Cher's father was stunned, unable to say anything. He had only just arrived, but didn't expect it to be like this. He originally wanted to use the scolding to gloss over his daughter's mistake, but from the looks of it, he didn't want to let it go just like that. Su Wenxing looked at the corpse on the ground. This is a member of the second branch. Daring to touch my daughter, damn it! A strong anger surged in his heart, and he gave a look to the side. Soon, someone came up and cleaned up the corpses and bloodstains on the ground. It was as if nothing had happened at the ball. Seeing this, the nobles tried to smooth things over. All right, it's just a small matter. Shui did the right thing. That's right, such a follower would have been beaten to death in our family. Miss Shui has the air of a great noble. Su Wenxing nodded at Su Cher, indicating for his daughter to follow him. The two of them walked out of the ballroom, crossed several walls, and arrived at Su Xingwen's study room. The door was slammed shut. Su Wenxing said angrily, "Whatever you want to do, do it in private. Do you still want to get married after doing such a thing in public?" Su Cher lowered her head and asked, "Father, do you really want me to get married? I am a powerful professional. Father, are you willing to let me fall into the outer sect?" Su Wenxing paused, thinking that he had understood something. His expression softened, his tone also became a bit warmer. "I don't want you to get married, this is your mother's idea. She believes that it's a good thing for a girl to find a good husband as soon as possible. As parents, of course we want you to have a good life." Hearing that, Su Shui finally looked up at her father. She couldn't help but ask, "Gu Qingshan is the Federation's chief mech scientist, even Princess Anna likes him, why don't you want to accept such a person?" "Silly child, his technology belongs to the entire Federation, controlled by impartial goddess, even we can't pry into it." Su Wenxing's eyes showed a bit of shrewdness. "And his mech is in your hands, so you can take it apart and restore it at any time. That's why. He isn't important," Su Cher hurriedly said, "but he will improve. He will make more achievements in the future, he will achieve even more. Who can say for sure what will happen in the future? He's only a normal person, he doesn't have any authority." "Is authority really that important?" Su Cher gritted her teeth. Su Wenwen looked at his daughter, looked at her beautiful face that was as delicate as a painting, and suddenly sighed. "Daughter, without authority, your future will be very bleak, father. I don't think I won't be able to gain authority after being with him." Su Wenxing looked at his daughter, remembering her fourth-stage elementalist ability. He couldn't help but agree. He dejectedly leaned back on his chair, casually said, "If you were the daughter of our Su family's second branch, I wouldn't stop you at all, I would definitely marry you off to Gu Qingshan." This statement was so strange that Su Cher couldn't help but open her eyes wide, asking, "Second branch? I don't understand what you mean." Su Wenxing went silent for a bit, then suddenly smiled. "That brat sure has lived a long life, living until now." Su Cher's expression changed, hurriedly asked, "What do you mean? Who would want to do anything to him?" "It's not anyone who wants to do anything to him, my dear daughter," Su Wenxing sighed. "When he confessed to you, it wasn't just us. Any lord's direct line of descent would think it was a provocation and would want to do anything to him. Why?" Su Cher exclaimed. Because your destined husband will be a member of the Nine Lords' direct line of descent, Su Wenxing answered. Destined from birth? Su Cher mulled over this sentence, looking at her father in confusion. Su Wenxing shook his head and sighed. Since he's already said this much, he might as well make things clear. My daughter, you should know, every young lady of the Nine Lords' direct line of descent, according to the rules, can only marry a member of the Nine Lords' direct line of descent. Su Cher was stunned, then suddenly recalled the life experiences of the Lord's direct line of descent. So that's how it is. No, no, she muttered with a pale face, why is there such a rule? Su Wenxing paced back and forth in the room, annoyed. Normally, these things can only be told after you're married, but I'm telling you now so that you won't want to be with that brat. Our Nine Lords' direct line of descent will marry each other after they come of age. This is to ensure that the secret that the Nine Lords are protecting won't be leaked, Su Wenxing explained. What secret? I don't know about that secret either, only the direct line of descent will be able to learn about it on the day that they take over the position of head of the clan. As far as I know, this secret has been protected for 700 years, so the secret has never been leaked? You don't know about it either? Su Cher questioned further. 30 years ago, the Federation's most famous scientist, Liao Xing, used warp technology to reach the location of the secret, which means he succeeded. Chapter 270. Su Wenwen's eyes showed a bit of desire, saying, I also want to know what this secret is. Fortunately, I'll soon become the Lord. Su Cher thought about it and muttered. No wonder there were so many ridiculous aristocrats in history. As long as they're a direct descendant, they'll always be able to take control of a lord. We're hosting this banquet to bring you together with a direct descendant of the Nine Lords. Unfortunately, your heart is elsewhere. Now I've explained everything clearly to you. This is the fate of the Nine Lords. No one can go against it. What if someone goes against it? Su Cher asked unwillingly. The Lord has the right to enforce it. The other 8 lords will also work together to enforce it. To keep this secret, even if a direct descendant of the Nine Lords dies, they'll still have to get married. They can't marry an outsider. Su Cher was stunned for a while, unable to regain her senses. Su Wenwen sighed and said, Give the mech to the family. After they've finished researching it, you'll be able to take it and marry into another lord. Only then will you be able to obtain an unprecedented amount of wealth. You'll be able to live the rest of your life in luxury. Su Cher bit her lip. But I like Gu Qingshan. Su Wenxing showed an expression of understanding, then spoke with an experienced tone. Affection is only temporary. As time goes by, you'll understand. Compared to wealth and power, a man is nothing. Listen to father. Give up the mech and marry into a lord. If you don't like your future husband, that's even better. Even better? Su Cher didn't understand. Yes, you're a peak 4th stage elementalist, and you have the blazing angel mech. After you marry into that lord, you'll have a certain amount of authority. Slowly holding that lord's power in your hands, you'll be able to cooperate with me from afar. Su Wenwen's expression was full of excitement as he spoke. I'm about to become the Su family's lord, while you'll have authority in another lord's family. As long as you cooperate with me, our Su family's future will be glorious. Su Cher was stunned for a while, then suddenly asked, How's Grandpa doing right now? Su Wenxing paused. His beautiful imagination was interrupted, a bit annoyed. He's still being monitored, but the doctor said that his days are almost over. I'll go check on him. That's fine. Remember what I said. I'm doing this for your own good, Su Wenxing said earnestly. Su Cher looked deeply at her father's face and said word by word, I will remember it. Yes, the second branch actually dared to touch you. Damn it. You don't have to worry about what happened next. Su Wenxing's face was full of anger when he thought of this. Su Cher walked out of the study and looked up at the sky. The dark clouds hung low in the sky, preparing for a heavy rain. Suddenly, she couldn't help but laugh. Forcing me to marry someone just for a secret? She muttered. For some reason, the image of Anna holding Gu Qingshan's hand at the banquet reappeared in his mind. Su Cher tightly pursed her lips. Her pair of dark and cold eyes were like a bottomless abyss, making it impossible for others to see through her emotions and thoughts. She reached out her hand and touched her head. A few minutes later, she was standing outside a building. For the past few decades, this has been the center of power for the entire Su family, as well as the residence of the Su family's head, Su Xingqiao. Su Cher stared at this building, hesitated for a while, but didn't go up to knock on the door. Tonight, the Su family is holding a grand banquet, so there's almost no one here, only the medical staff occasionally come out. Su Cher paced back and forth on the road. Occasionally she would quickly walk to the door of the building, stop for a bit, then quickly go back. A few times she's already raised her hand at the door. As long as she lightly knocks on the door, the medical staff will open it for her, but she would always pull her hand back as if she was electrocuted. While she was pacing back and forth, a small unmanned transporter came, hovering on the side of the road. Su Cher, your package, an electronic voice came. From who? From Gu Qingshan. Ah! Su Cher screamed in shock, quickly stepped forward and snatched the package. The package was tightly sealed, but Su Cher couldn't wait to find a pair of scissors. A thin blade the color of wind appeared in her hand. Following her movements, she quickly cut the seal on the package. The package was opened. It was a box. Su Cher couldn't wait to open the box, only to see a small booklet and a jade bottle inside. The jade bottle was clear, white and flawless. Even from Su Cher's point of view, it was a rare item. Su Cher immediately fell in love with this jade bottle. She couldn't help but smile, took the jade bottle and looked at it fondly. After a while, she remembered that there was a small booklet. Opening the booklet, she flipped through it. It was all written by Gu Qingshan herself. A card fell from the booklet. Su Cher hurriedly picked up the card. There were a few lines written on the card. Chongning County has been cleaned up 5 times. Tomorrow I'll have someone go again to make sure there won't be any more man-killer fiends. This way, while you're cultivating at home, you can also go out for some fresh air. The situation in the Federation is getting better, but you definitely can't join the game of Eternal. Listen to me, otherwise I'll have a headache. Also, the pills in the jade bottle are 1 every 3 days. The booklet is a cultivation method. This is the most important thing. You have to practice it with all your heart, cultivate well. Quickly become stronger. The future of the world isn't so good. You need to have the ability to protect yourself. Do your best. Su Cher held the card, reading it over and over again no less than 10 times, feeling 2 streams of warmth flowing down her cheek. She sniffled, wiped her tears and put the card on her chest. She carefully put everything away. Her lips split into a radiant smile. She finally gathered her courage, walked to the door of the building and knocked. She quickly walked in. The hospital room. This was a room filled with advanced equipment. A few doctors and nurses were standing on the side, while Su Cher walked next to the bed and sat down. Su Xingqiao was lying on the bed, barely breathing. His eyes were slightly opened, staring at the ceiling without blinking, as if he was reluctant to leave this world, or as if he had some unfulfilled wish that he couldn't close his eyes. He breathed out deeply, paused for a while, then breathed in again. "Grandpa, I'm here to see you." Su Cher held the old man's hand, lightly squeezing it. The old man also squeezed her hand. "I have to leave, I heard. The call of the Grim Reaper," the old man stuttered. "But, there's one thing I can't let go of." He stared at his granddaughter, his eyes full of questions. Su Cher stayed silent for a while, until the old man was about to close his eyes in disappointment. She finally made up her mind. She bit her lip and said, "I've made my decision." As soon as she said that, Su Cher's entire body relaxed. Chapter 271. The old man suddenly opened his eyes and breathed in deeply. The sickly look on his face slowly disappeared, replaced by a flush of red. His eyes were bright and full of expression, like an old lion looking at its territory for the last time. "All of you leave, I want to talk to my granddaughter for a bit," he ordered. Seeing that, the doctors knew that the old man had reached his final moment. They exchanged glances, then silently left. As soon as they left, they split up to inform the people who have been waiting for a long time. "Tell me your decision," the old man spoke in a low voice. Anna stared straight at him, her clear voice was filled with determination. "I am willing to sacrifice everything for the sake of Sioux family, as long as our Sioux family can continue to stand tall in the Federation. I want Sioux family to become the strongest family in the Nine Lords. For the rest of my life, I will lead the Sioux family forward and fight until my soul returns to heaven." Her voice was slow and determined. The old man smiled, feeling relieved. He opened his mouth, paused for a while, then gathered enough strength to laugh. "I wasn't wrong. For the last 20 years in the entire Sioux family, only you have the qualities of a true leader." "Qualities?" Sioux Cher asked. "Smart, determined, and unparalleled courage," the old man slowly spoke. "Courage?" Sioux Cher lowered her head. "I don't think of myself as a courageous person, otherwise I wouldn't have ended up like this." The old man tried his best to smile, then spoke. "The courage that can be seen under normal circumstances isn't called courage, it's called recklessness. Many people are forced by fate to be ostriches, but courageous people, when necessary, will overcome all obstacles, even killing their past selves in order to be reborn." He looked at his granddaughter like she was a treasure. "You have the trait of courage, others might not be able to see it, but you can't hide it from my eyes. A person with such a trait is the leader of humanity. In terms of personal talent, you are the only direct descendant of the Nine Lords to reach 4th stage elementalist in the last 30 years. But Shwe-er, you also have a fatal weakness. Please tell me." Grandpa Sioux Cher looked up and spoke very seriously. The old man shook his head and seemed to be considering what to say. After a long time he said, "I sometimes think that you really don't resemble your parents at all." "What do you mean?" "You've never lied since you were young." Sioux Cher was startled and asked, "Isn't that good?" "You must understand that in this regard, the nobles' approach is the exact opposite of yours. Your parents are typical nobles. Their mouths are full of lies. Even if they made a promise, they would decide whether or not to fulfill it based on the benefit." The old man said, "Shwe-er, you are truly an intelligent person. The only thing I am worried about is that you are too honest and will suffer losses." Sioux Cher was silent for a moment and said, "I understand, Grandpa. Yes, apart from that, you make me feel at ease. Yes, I feel that I can go on my way with peace of mind." Sioux Cher held the old man's hand tightly and said nothing. There was a commotion outside, and then the door was violently opened. The sons and daughters of the Sioux family all rushed in, surrounding Su Xingqiao's bed. Whether they were sincere or not, at this moment, all of them had a sorrowful expression on their faces. Following closely behind him were the other 8 lords of the 9 palaces, including Su Xingqiao, who was still lying on the bed. At this moment, all 9 lords of the Federation have arrived. The 8 lords silently walked in one by one, each of them wearing a black cloak, their expressions solemn and serious. This was the legendary cloak. The entire cloak was decorated with stars, as if these stars were real stars in space, not just a cloak. If it wasn't for the fact that this wasn't the right place, not just Sioux Cher, everyone here would stare at the cloak to see what it was. In the history of the Federation, at such a moment, the other 8 lords would wear this cloak and come to the bed of the dying, waiting to witness the final moment of inheritance. This has been the iron rule of the 9 lords of the Federation for over 100 years. "Brother Xingqiao, what's your decision?" one of the lords asked. "I've decided." Su Xingqiao looked at the children around him. Even though they know their chances are slim, everyone's eyes were still filled with unease and deep desire. Su Wenwen stepped forward, holding his father's hand with a pained expression on his face, waiting for his father to make the announcement. Su Xingqiao didn't look at him, only muttered, The next lord of the Su family, Su Cher. Everyone went silent. Madame Su was the first to scream. No, that's impossible. Why did you skip us and let a child become the lord? Su Wenwen showed an expression of disbelief. His mouth opened and closed a few times, but didn't know what to say. Is this your final decision? Another palace lord asked. Yes, only she can lead the Su family and continue to walk together with all of you, only she can continue to maintain the 9 lords' current situation, so that our hundreds of years of hard work won't be wasted. If anyone who didn't know the truth heard this, they'd think that Su Xingqiao was praising Su Cher. But as the other 8 lords heard, they all went silent. They looked at each other, then nodded. We respect your decision, they all spoke at the same time. The old man forced a smile, then finally looked at his son and spoke with difficulty. You're not strong enough, inheriting the lord position wasn't a good thing for you. But now it's fine, from now on you can live however you want, live your life happily for the rest of your life. He then looked at Su Cher and reached his hand out. Come, Shui. Su Cher held him up. Suddenly, a bolt of lightning that no one could see passed from Su Xingqiao's hand into Su Cher's. The bolt of lightning entered Su Cher's body, then quickly disappeared without a trace. Everyone from the Su family, including Su Shui, didn't know about this. The expressions of the other 8 manor lords changed simultaneously. Someone sighed. Someone had complicated expressions, whispering to each other. Someone turned around and looked at the door. Someone looked at Su Cher, but didn't say a word. Only they know that that thing has already been passed on. Without that thing to support him, old man Su will die very soon. Su family, I'll leave it to you, the old man finally said. Su Cher didn't say anything, only looked at the old man and nodded. The old man smiled and closed his eyes in relief. He let out a long breath and didn't move again. Su Cher looked at the old man's body, 2 streams of tears flowed down her cheeks. From the void of space, a pure black cloak silently appeared and draped over her body. On top of the cloak there were countless stars. As soon as Su Cher put on this cloak, her entire presence changed. She appeared noble and mysterious. The pressure she exuded wasn't any less than the other 8 lords. Su Cher, the 8 lords all called out at once. She turned around. From now on you are the lord of the Su family. Now you will come with us to the world's end, to complete our 9 lords' ceremony of inheritance. The journey is long, we need to move as soon as possible. The ceremony of inheritance was about to begin. This ceremony of inheritance had happened countless times in the history of the 9 lords, and only the lords knew the contents of it. Anyone who tried to pry would be killed without mercy. Su Cher turned to look at the 8 lords, tears silently flowing down her cheeks. Please wait for a moment, I want to say goodbye to Grandpa alone. The 8 lords exchanged looks, then looked at the old man's body, feeling a bit emotional. Please hurry, we'll wait for you outside, thank you. I won't make you wait too long, Su Cher nodded. Very well, the rest of you can leave as well, the lord said. The people of the Su family all had different thoughts, but before they could think any further, they were all chased out by the 8 lords. The door was closed from the outside. The sickroom returned to silence. Su Cher looked at the old man's face, wiping the tears from her eyes. Grandpa, thank you for passing the position of lord to me. There's something I need to tell you. She reached out her hand and smoothed the old man's messy hair, then straightened his collar. After a while, she spoke again. In my entire life I've never lied to you except today. That's right, I won't protect the Su family. Because I look down on everyone here, they all live in darkness and filth, other than their own benefits, there's nothing in this world that they care about. She looked down at the old man. Grandpa, you said I'm courageous. I didn't agree at first, but now that I think about it, I feel like you're right. Su Cher pursed her lips and muttered. I won't let anyone control my fate anymore, I swear. Chapter 272. Space. The S.W. Divine Temple Interstellar Fortress. The screams of agony that filled the entire fortress finally stopped. Yi Fei Li sat down on the ground, breathing heavily, unable to say anything for a while. Gu Qingshan put her hand on his shoulder, circulating her spirit energy inside his body. Yi Fei Li's body is fine, there's nothing wrong. Gu Qingshan asked very seriously. Why do you suddenly feel so uncomfortable? Yi Fei Li wiped the sweat off his face and helplessly answered. My ears are hurting so much that I can't take it anymore. Aren't your ears going to evolve? Liao Xing put his arm around her neck and asked. I can occasionally hear strange noises, but it's like there's something blocking it. I can't tell what exactly it is, Yi Fei Li strangely said. If that's the case, it's a sign that your God's chosen skill is about to awaken, Anna judged. That's right, I also think so, Zhang Yongho also said. Hearing two people with God's chosen skill say so, everyone was a bit more convinced. Man-killer fiends can also awaken their God's chosen skills? Everyone silently thought about it, and they were all very curious about it. You've killed so many high-leveled man-killer fiends recently, it's still not enough for your ears to awaken? Gu Qingshan was a bit surprised. I feel like it's already enough, even more than the amount of energy needed to awaken my ears, but I don't know why, I still can't awaken it, Yi Fei Li complained. He rubbed his ears, saying, Luckily, after the pain this time, I can rest for a bit longer. I thought of a certain possibility, Gu Qingshan said. When I get that thing, I might be able to solve your problem. What thing? Yi Fei Li asked. A 99% purity God's chosen awakening serum recipe. Both you and I can use it, Gu Qingshan smiled. Smiting requires 3 serums to evolve, and the God's chosen awakening serum is one of them. Gu Qingshan has to hurry up and finish evolving her thaumaturgy before entering the cultivation world. Otherwise, if she wants to get another 3 serums, she'll have to wait until the next time she returns to reality. That would be too late. The extraction of new golden core stage magical powers would be affected because of this. While the game of Eternal isn't here, I need to quickly deal with this. Impartial Goddess? Sir, location has been determined, Impartial Goddess reported. A screen of light spread out, and all kinds of mountains and rivers appeared on it. Impartial Goddess continued to adjust the satellite's location until the screen finally stabilized. On the screen was a magnificent private manor. At this time, the lights were waning, and many attendants were hurrying to and fro in preparation. This was another grand social banquet, not one bit inferior to the 9 Lords Su family's ball. In fact, it might even surpass it. The sea beasts and man-killer fiends are still wreaking havoc everywhere, but the Holy Empire's upper echelons are still taking this time to enjoy themselves. Should I say this is the advantage of humanity's evolution, or the disadvantage of human nature? Yi Fei Li took a swig of liquor, shook her head and sighed emotionally. Both Fuxi and the Federation are about to stop the man-killer fiends from wreaking havoc, only the Holy Empire hasn't done anything yet, Zhang Yongho commented. The Pope hasn't done anything at all, she doesn't care about the people's lives at all. If my father was still here. Anna shook her head and didn't say anything else. She controlled her emotions and changed the topic. This is Madame Punta's banquet. No matter what the situation is, as long as she's hosting the banquet, many people will come, and they'll all be famous people. Everyone looked at her. Are you very familiar with her? Gu Qingshan asked. Anna's expression was natural as she answered. She's my father's friend, I've met her a few times, we even rode horses together. My father had many girlfriends, I think she's the most outstanding one among them, Anna seriously commented. Seeing everyone's surprised expression, she added. My mother passed away when I was young, my father was too lonely. Finding girlfriends is a natural thing to do, many girlfriends. Yi Fei Li repeated in a low voice. That's how it is in upper society. Liao Xing leaned closer and whispered. Yi Fei Li took a sip from her glass and muttered, Upper society is so far away from me. Alright, you guys stay here and try to sense spirit energy if you have nothing else to do. I'm going to the Holy Empire first. Gu Shan ended this topic. You have to go? Anna asked. That's right, I need this serum. He pointed at a certain spot on the screen. Are you talking about this place? No, a bit to the left, Anna answered. This place. Yes, it's here, 3rd floor, 7th room on the right, diplomatic gift room. Gu Shan silently stared at the screen and found the room. Anna continued. After you go in, go straight to the end, you'll see a painting hanging on the wall. What's the painting? When I was 10 years old, my father celebrated my birthday for me. Your father's half of the serum recipe is hidden in the middle of the painting? Anna answered. That's right, there's a copy of his half of the serum inside the painting, and I have the other half. Only he and I know about this. Gu Shan controlled the screen to lock on to the room's location. Impartial Goddess, I'm here. Everything has been prepared, awaiting your order. Let's begin. Very well, sir. Your new identity is the Freedom Federation's military officer at the Holy Empire's embassy, Zhang Rinjiao. Today is your first day at the Holy Empire, and also your first day on duty. As the Federation's representative, you will be participating in this banquet. If you want to make it to the banquet and officially enter the manor, you'll need to hurry. How do I get there? With the premise of avoiding all radars, plan to infiltrate as fast as possible. Please inject the genetic serum to temporarily change your appearance. Gu Shan opened the small box on the ground. Inside was a syringe. Very well, thank you. After the injection, Gu Shan's appearance completely changed. This was a masculine man with a single eyelid, looking very heroic and military. How long will this look last? He asked. 5 hours, Impartial Goddess answered. That's enough. At this time, Liao Xing was carrying a barrel-shaped metal instrument, struggling to walk over. Catch it, I can't carry it anymore, he shouted. Gu Shan took the metal instrument and looked at it. The instrument was about half a person tall, very hard to carry with both hands, and quite heavy. Warp device, he asked. A prototype handheld miniature warp device. The instructions have been sent to your holobrain. Take a look yourself. Liao Xing breathed heavily. Gu Shan turned on his holobrain, reading the instructions while fiddling with the metal instrument. He said, This one's too big and heavy. I can use it, but it'll be very inconvenient to popularize it. Liao Xing. I know, this is only the first prototype. As long as this one succeeds, everything else will be smooth. All right, well done, Gu Shan said. Liao Xing suddenly became serious and continued. This prototype is the most successful one so far. It can withstand a total of 3 warps. Only one person can use each time. Make sure to remember how many times it can be used. 3 times is enough. You're going alone? Anna asked. It's easy to escape alone, but it'll be more troublesome with more people. Anna didn't say anything, only looking at him worriedly. Gu Shan patted the handheld miniature warp device and smiled. With this, I can leave whenever I want. Don't worry, that's true. As soon as the warp device is activated, they'll be transported to a predetermined location in the blink of an eye. There shouldn't be any danger. Chapter 273. That's also my only concern, Gu Shan said, but according to Impartial Goddess and my analysis, the Pope very rarely comes to these kinds of banquets, Yi Feili said. How about I go with you? If that Pope or whatever he is, if he dares to act presumptuously in front of us, I'll teach him a lesson. The others all turned to look at him with strange expressions on their faces. What is it? Yi Feili was confused. I'll bet 10 credits that you can't beat that monster, Liao Xing said. You don't have that much faith in me? Yi Feili asked. I'll bet 100 million, you'll die a painful death, Zhang Yongho said. Yi Feili didn't believe him and looked at Gu Shan. Gu Shan patted his shoulder and said, Only when you can beat Anna will you have the qualifications to fight against the holy apostles of the Holy Church. Wait until one day you can beat Anna, and then a holy apostle, then you can think about how to come back alive from the Pope. Anna, is only a peak 4th stage elementalist. I'm a 6th stage man-killer fiend king. Yi Fei Li was unconvinced. Gu Qingshan said, I've said it before, the division of strength isn't that simple. Anna's fire element combined with her god's chosen skill makes her even stronger than a normal 5th stage professionist. Yi Fei Li looked at Anna and said, How about we fight? Anna scoffed. Look at your glass. Yi Fei Li looked down, only to see that the glass in his hand was already half melted. If we really fought, you'd already be dead. Anna raised her chin and said, When did this happen? Yi Fei Li was dejected. He was a bit hurt from that. It can't be helped. A mystic-type god's chosen skill can't be measured with common sense, Zhang Yongho consoled him. Yi Fei Li suddenly asked Gu Qingshan, What about you? Your swordsmanship is the best I've ever seen. Can you deal with the Vatican? If it's a holy disciple, I can still spar with him. Gu Qingshan smiled. What if we run into the Pope? If I can't escape, I'll definitely die. You'll die too? The difference in strength is too great. Naturally, he will die. Zhang Yongho also agreed. If the Pope were here, all of us would be dead. Anna suddenly looked at Gu Qingshan and said, How about I disguise myself and go with you? No, it's too dangerous. I won't allow you to go. Gu Qingshan's attitude was very firm. Liao Xing pondered on the side and said, Then we must pay attention to this old woman's movements. He typed out a long list of data on the screen, then sent it to Impartial Goddess. Please extract the core formula from this address and make 30 of them. What a beautiful formula, Mr. Liao, Impartial Goddess replied. Gu Qingshan asked, What is it? Nanoscale surveillance device, the proudest invention of my entire life, Liao Xing proudly said. You're going to use it to monitor the Pope? Of course, I'll spread it across the entire Holy Church. No one will be able to detect it. This thing, I feel like it's not just limited to that. Yi Fei Li said, thinking. Liao Xing turned to look at her, his lips curled up, his eyes full of You're still too young and inexperienced. That way we'll be able to know the Pope's situation and notify you at any time. Anna happily patted Gu Qingshan's shoulder, her tense heart finally relaxed. Very well, we'll keep in touch, Gu Qingshan said. While he was talking, he was silently thinking about a strange question. In his previous life, the Pope was the most mysterious of all the humans in the real world. During that long period of time, of the countless professionists who fought against her, only the Fuxi Empire's emperor managed to survive. The Fuxi Emperor had to rest for over half a year to fully recover, after which he kept his mouth shut about that battle. Because of that, no one knows how the Pope fought or what trump cards she had up her sleeves. In fact, with the 7 holy apostles there, under normal circumstances, she wouldn't even need to do anything. But the strangest thing was, during the final year of the apocalypse, the Pope disappeared without a trace. No one knew where she went, whether she was dead or alive. But the number of people who were still alive at that time was getting smaller and smaller. Everyone was too busy looking after themselves, so the investigation into her disappearance was quickly abandoned. At this point, Impartial Goddess' voice came. The flight plan has been prepared, sir. You may depart at any time. Very well, I'm leaving. Gu Qingshan stood up and gestured. A mobile mech rose from the ground, layer by layer, attaching itself to his body. This was the standard mech that Impartial Goddess had in reserve. Due to the lack of time, Gu Qingshan didn't specifically make a mobile mech, sir. There's no time to make a new mech. Only by implanting a miniature stealth system into this mech will it be able to go invisible for 1 minute, Impartial Goddess answered. Should I use my latest calculation technique? Yes, 1 minute is enough to get from the sky to the ground. It's fine even if it's not enough. Saying so, Gu Qingshan quickly stepped onto a small-sized interstellar ship, turned around and waved at everyone. I'll be back soon, he said. The ship's door closed, the engine roared and started up. The small-sized ship headed towards the planet below the S.W. Divine Temple. The ship quickly entered the atmosphere, circling back and forth at a fixed altitude. "Sir, we're currently at the edge of the Holy Church's surveillance, another 100 meters and we'll be discovered by the Holy Empire's surveillance system. Open the hatch, I'll use the mech to sneak in." The hatch opened. Gu Qingshan jumped down. At another location, the Holy Empire's capital cathedral, a woman wearing a white robe, her entire body glowing with light, sat on the throne. On top of her head, a shining halo hovered, giving off alternating strong and weak holy light, making her look like an angel. This was the Holy Church's Pope. She was holding a drawing board in her hand, seemingly in the middle of drawing. Whenever she has nothing to do, she would draw something. This was her pastime. "His Majesty the King requests an audience." 2 clergymen quickly came in and reported. "Let him in, everyone else leave, I want to speak to the king alone." The Pope didn't look up and said, "Yes." The 2 clergymen left. A few moments later, the king came in. He was sobbing. "Mother, I'm so lonely, why hasn't Anna come yet?" The Pope sighed and said, "Your recent actions have disappointed me, anyone can see that you're not the king. The Holy Empire is also slowly breaking apart because of this is all your fault." The king loudly shouted, "I don't care, if you don't give me Anna, I'll keep causing trouble." The Pope went silent, then her tone became cold. "We've agreed, if you can do your job well, I'll give Anna to you as a sole ingredient for you to absorb, but you haven't done your job, you're still causing trouble in front of me, son, you're not being good." The Pope reached her hand out and drew a line in the air. The king acted like he didn't hear her and continued to shout, but couldn't make any sound. "You need to rest for a while, reflect on your mistakes," the Pope said. Hearing the word rest, the king appeared fearful, desperately tried to say something, but still couldn't make any sound. The king hurriedly knelt down and begged for mercy. The Pope shook her head, casually took out a pen, and started drawing on the paper. She quickly drew while muttering, "I'll give you some quiet space, go and reflect on what you've done wrong. After this period of time, if I still remember, you can come out again." Hearing that, the king's face was full of fear and despair. All of a sudden, the king's stomach was opened, a terrifying gnome slid out, turned around and ran. The gnome shouted, "No! I don't want to go back. I want to stay in this world." But the Pope had already finished drawing. On the drawing board there was an empty black cage. The Pope put her pen away, took the drawing down from the board, and threw it into the air in front of her. The drawing of the cage flashed and disappeared, then flew right above the gnome's head. The drawing quickly grew bigger, like an open mouth, and swallowed the gnome whole. The Pope waved her hand, the drawing quickly flew back into her hand. On the drawing, an ugly gnome with sharp fingers was sitting on the ground with a dejected expression. He was trapped inside the cage. A few lines of text quickly appeared on the drawing board. Imprisoned sharp-fingered gnome. A sharp-fingered gnome, expert at manipulating corpses, simulating what they looked like when they were still alive. Sharp-fingered gnomes are madly in love with beautiful women who have both God's chosen and elemental talents, evolving and growing by consuming their combined powers. The Pope put the drawing away and shook it a bit. Chapter 274. The Pope put the gnome card away and drew another card from the void of space. A 5-colored spider was drawn on the card, crawling on top of a skeleton, using its web to wrap around the skeleton. A small line of text was written on the card. Web-weaving dead soul arachnid, following the dealer's order to control the corpse. Duration: 3 days. The Pope stared at the card and muttered, "Looks like I'll have to use a one-time use card now." She sighed and threw the card out. The card disappeared in the air. A large 5-colored spider appeared on the ground. "Go, that will be your new home," the Pope said. Hearing that, the spider quickly crawled towards the king's body. It crawled into the king's stomach, spat out its web and closed the wound from the inside. The king's lowered head suddenly looked up, his eyes regaining their focus. "Master," the king spoke. "You will act as the king for 3 days," the Pope said. Yes, I'll be going first. After the king finished speaking, he strode out of the room. The Pope took out a black card box and put the sharp-fingered gnome card inside. The gnome was screaming and jumping in a frenzy. His face was full of fear. This box seemed to have driven him mad. The Pope stared at the gnome card and said, "Reflect on yourself." Saying so, the box was closed. The inside was filled with silence and darkness. The Pope put the box away. A few moments later, a handsome man wearing a black robe came in and knelt on one knee. "When I came in, the nun serving you was saying that tonight's banquet is about to begin." "Yes, I understand," the Pope replied. "In the Holy Church, the color of one's robe represents their responsibilities. A white robe is a monk, a red robe is a preacher of the Holy Church to the world, while a black robe is a devotee of the Pope and God." The man bowed and silently retreated to one side. He was the strongest warrior by the Pope's side, the leader of the 7 holy apostles. The Pope thought for a bit, then scowled. This feeling, why doesn't it feel right? Where exactly did it go wrong? For a powerful existence like her, as soon as she sensed something, something must have happened. The Pope immediately paid attention. "Hurt, has anything unusual happened recently?" "Everything is under the control of the Holy Church. There are no abnormalities," the black-robed holy apostle called Hurt answered. "What about overseas? Did the Fushi and Federation do anything?" "No." "That's strange. It shouldn't be an illusion." The Pope sat on the throne, his left hand propping up his cheek, the 5 fingers of his right hand lightly tapping on the armrest. "Looks like I have to make a prophecy," she said. Hearing that, Hurt looked up in surprise. "You want to make a prophecy? If that's the case, won't you be too tired?" "There's nothing tiring about it. Let's just take a look and feel more at ease." As the Pope spoke, he stretched out his right hand and lightly pulled at the void in front of him. A card appeared in front of him. On the card there was a chest full of gems, and a hand was reaching into the chest. "Treasure hunting?" The Pope was slightly surprised. This card could represent too many meanings, but it was not enough to solve the doubts in her heart. As soon as she drew the card, a black chain appeared out of thin air and coiled around her left hand. The black chain manifested for a few seconds before slowly disappearing. The Pope didn't seem to notice it at all. She reached her hand out and made the gesture of drawing another card. The second card fell into her hand. Seeing this card, the Pope suddenly sat up straight. "So it's this card." She was surprised. On the card, there was a skeleton wearing armor, holding a black flag, and sitting on a white horse. "This is the death card." "Ahaha, the death god has come to visit?" "If that's the case, then the power to change the path of fate has appeared." The Pope suddenly let out a horrifying laugh. She spread the 2 cards out, letting them silently float on one side. From the void of space, a heavy clattering sound came. Another black chain appeared and coiled around her left leg. The black chain quickly disappeared. "Looks like I still need one more card to see the truth," the Pope muttered to himself. "Quite a bit of your power has been sealed away. Please don't make any more prophecies. With me here, no threat will be able to harm you," Holy Apostle Hurt hurriedly said. "It's fine, it's just a few chains, they'll only be able to trap me for a bit." The Pope didn't mind, "Not to mention, if anything happens, I can pay a small price to undo it. Now, let me take a look at the final card of fate." Saying so, she reached her hand out and lightly drew another card from the void of space. The final card was held in her hand. At the same time, another black chain appeared and coiled around her body. The Pope didn't even look at the chain and only stared at the card in her hand. There was a scale drawn on this card. On each end of the scale was an old and gloomy crown, as well as a slowly beating heart. As the Pope stared at this card, she couldn't help but grip the armrest of her chair tightly. Why would the prophecy draw such a useless card? Didn't the king die a long time ago? She asked in disbelief. This was a unique card, specifically used to launch the most powerful mystic-type attack against the enemy. It was thanks to this card that she managed to assassinate the king. But under the king's full retaliation, this card also ran out of power and became a useless card. From then on, the Holy Church's God's chosen skill on this card could no longer be activated. Who would have thought it would mysteriously appear again in this prophecy? The Pope abruptly stood up, clasped her hands behind her back, and slowly paced around the cathedral. The prophecy card's prophecy can't be wrong. In other words, the king is still alive? No, that can't be, his body is still in my hands. Take the treasure. Death, useless card, the Pope muttered. The feeling that something was wrong was getting stronger and stronger. She suddenly raised her voice. Hurt. The black-robed holy apostle replied, I'm here. Gather the 7 holy apostles and have them guard the capital's main roads. If you find anything wrong, immediately notify me. Yes. Seeing Hurt's hesitant expression, the Pope asked, What is it? I just feel that you don't need to worry too much about the prophecy in this world. There are no existences that can threaten you. No, you don't understand. I have to look into the direction of fate, because something like fate is very hard to change just because of what you've done. But you've already been sealed 3 times already. It's fine. If there's an emergency, I can release the seal at any time. At this point, a nun came in and asked, The madam's banquet is about to begin. While the Pope was thinking, she casually said, For such an unimportant matter, just have Holy Apostle Ivan show up in my place, and see if there are any suspicious people at the banquet. Yes, the nun left. The mobile mech flew through the night sky, quickly heading towards the Holy Empire's capital. When the mech was about to reach its destination, an alarm sounded. Sir, a holy apostle has brought 200 paladins to the manor. His job is to investigate any suspicious people. Got it? Gu Qing Shan changed direction and suddenly descended. The mech sank into a lake. A few moments later, Gu Qing Shan came out of the lake, circulating his spirit energy to evaporate the water on his body. Did they notice anything? He asked. I really have to say, this was a perfect infiltration. We didn't touch the Holy Empire surveillance network. Liao Xing's voice came from the holobrain. Furthermore, the Pope has been staying at the Holy Church. She didn't come to the banquet, he added. The Pope didn't come to the banquet? Very good, that's the best news I've heard, Gu Qing Shan said. A light screen was projected, showing his location. Impartial goddess voice came. Sir, you will need to head southwest for 2 kilometers. In 15 minutes, the Federation envoy's car will pass by. I'll go now. Gu Qing Shan turned off the holobrain and flew towards the destination. A few moments later, a car with the Federation flag was flying through the mountains. As the car turned a corner, the car door opened and a black figure got in. Inside the car, 2 people were pointing their weapons at Gu Qing Shan, while the other took out a scanner from his chest and aimed it at him. Identity confirmed, an electronic voice came from the scanner. The people inside the car all sighed in relief. The way they looked at Gu Qing Shan was filled with an indescribable sense of respect. The top-secret missions of the Federation were generally handed over to large-scale professional teams of special agencies to carry out. But this time they only sent a single person. This person must be extraordinary. They quickly took out a large box from under their seats and opened it in front of Gu Qing Shan. Military uniform, military boots, belt, personal identification, wallet. I didn't prepare a gun or sword, since I'm here for the banquet. Gu Qing Shan looked at the thing in front of him and quickly put it on. The ambassador carefully took out a silk handkerchief from his chest and opened it layer by layer. A silver-white medal appeared in front of Gu Qing Shan. First-class Medal of Freedom? Gu Qing Shan asked. That's right, only such an outstanding military achievement can explain your age and official position, the ambassador replied. Try it on, learn how to wear it. He solemnly gave the medal to Gu Qing Shan. Thank you, Gu Qing Shan said. He quickly changed into a new outfit and asked, How is it? Everyone looked at him. The ambassador mused. Your temperament is a bit lacking. As a soldier of the Federation, you should be a bit prideful. Gu Qingshan straightened his back. His presence changed. Having been through mountains of corpses and seas of blood in both of his lives, countless demons and living souls have fallen by his sword. It wasn't a problem for him to act like a soldier now. Very good, even our own military officers wouldn't be able to do a better job, an embassy official praised. Do you need us to do anything else? The ambassador asked. No need, once we're inside, you don't need to worry about me, Gu Qingshan replied. The ambassador's group nodded and silently sighed in relief. The car became silent. Chapter 275. As soon as the premonition appeared, Gu Qingshan immediately became cautious. Powerful cultivators have a bit of spirit sense in the dark, so if they suddenly sense something, it means that they've seen or sensed a crack in the fabric of fate, which would usually come true later on. Normally, premonitions are very rare. Coincidentally, this time, both Gu Qingshan and the Pope felt it at the same time. Gu Qingshan thought for a bit, then suddenly said, After we go in, when the banquet is over and the ball is about to start, all of you will immediately leave and return to the embassy. Everyone looked at her in confusion. The ambassador asked in a low voice, Will there be danger? Not necessarily, but it's best if you return to your country first, Gu Qingshan said. Impartial goddess, I'm here. There's a change of plans. I request that you arrange a high-speed shuttle at the embassy. As soon as the ambassador and the others arrive, send them away. I'll arrange it soon. Gu Qingshan looked at the ambassador and said, My apologies, please move a bit faster later. The ambassador nodded, thinking about it. Since this special agent was able to directly talk to Impartial Goddess, this mission must be very important, so his personal authority was temporarily increased by a large margin by Impartial Goddess. The ambassador then said, You also need to take care of yourself. If the situation becomes too difficult, don't force yourself. When you return to the Freedom Federation, I'll be your witness. Gu Qingshan looked at him in surprise, then smiled. Very well. At this point, the car's speed started to slow down, because the other cars in front were also slowing down. What's happening up ahead? Gu Qingshan released her inner sight, extending it all the way until she reached the checkpoint. Layers upon layers of paladins surrounded an empty space. A tall white-robed ascetic stood in the middle, observing the professionists who were tied up tightly. After looking at the professionists one by one, he spoke. You now have two choices. The first is to be thrown into jail and endure all kinds of punishments. The second is to spar with me. He suddenly smiled warmly and spoke in a low voice. If you win, I'll order you to be released. Are you telling the truth? The professionists hesitantly asked. Saints never lie. You should know this. Although there was a smile and a gentle tone, the way the saints looked at them was exceptionally cold and heartless, as if they were living creatures in a slaughterhouse cage. The professionists looked at each other. All of them were tempted. Then we'll spar with you. Very well, untie me. Once you're ready, you can go. 5 or 6 professionals moved their bodies a little, made tactical gestures with each other, and launched a fierce and crazy attack. The white-robed holy disciple stood in place with his arms crossed, allowing the various attacks to land on his body. His robe had long been torn to shreds, and he could only bear his upper body, enduring all kinds of attacks such as frost, flames, knives, axes, guns, and cannons. Several breaths later. Die! Die! Why aren't you dead yet? Some of the attackers were already on the verge of tears. This was because there was not a single wound on the white-robed saint's body. Under the barrage of attacks, it was the professionists who were unknowingly heavily wounded, falling down one by one. The white-robed saint looked at the heavily wounded bodies on the ground, ignoring the fact that he was still being attacked, stepped forward and broke their necks one by one. He squinted his eyes, carefully observing the lifeless bodies one by one, as if observing his own masterpiece. He nodded in satisfaction. Monster, monster! One of the professionists who was still alive was about to collapse. The white-robed saint looked at him and spoke. Using weapons against me is a blasphemy against God's representative in the human realm. You will use your death to atone for your sins. There was a deep viciousness in his cold tone, and under his feet there was a pattern that was constantly emitting holy light. Gu Qing-shan scanned it with her inner sight and immediately recognized what this pattern represented. This is the Holy Church's exclusive mystic-type God's chosen skill, atonement. Under the effect of the God's chosen skill, atonement, any attacker will receive 200% of damage, and the saint who has atonement won't receive any damage. The Holy Church's methods have always been cruel and inhumane, but all professionists can't help but admit that the Holy Church's God's chosen skill is ridiculously powerful. In history, the Holy Church has always been a vassal of the Holy Empire's royal family. The Holy Empire's royal family provided the Holy Church's seeds with the God's chosen awakening serum, while the Holy Church protected the royal family, protecting the Holy Empire. Until today, when the royal family was massacred by the Holy Church, leaving only Anna, a burly man wielding a long-handled battle axe. His body emitted layers of martial thaumaturgy power as he charged straight at the saint. Decapitation! The burly man roared. His battle axe whistled through the air as he slashed at the saint with all his might. Facing such a fierce attack, the saint still crossed his arms, not even bothering to block. Axe? Trash weapons, he said disdainfully. With a loud bang, the sharp battle axe hit his body, making a dull sound, like something hitting a thick layer of rubber. The white-robed saint stood there unharmed. He managed to block the enemy's full power attack with only his body. That's completely unimaginable. Impossible! The man screamed and coughed up blood. The white-robed saint reached his fan-sized hand out and grabbed the man's neck. Not even close to scratching an itch. I'm very disappointed, he casually said, then abruptly increased his strength. With a crack, the bald man's neck was bent at a strange angle. The bald man lost all signs of life. Sparring is over, the white-robed saint threw the body on the ground and said, a bit bored. A few paladins quickly carried a large bathtub in front of him. One of them prostrated on the ground, the second one bent his back, the third one half-kneeled. They formed a human-shaped platform. The white-robed holy apostle stepped on the three of them, leaving only a few bloody footprints. The saint entered the bathtub. A few minutes later, the saint appeared in front of everyone wearing a brand-new white ascetic robe. Sir, should we bring this one back for interrogation? A paladin officer asked. There was still a heavily wounded professionist on the ground. Like a dying fish, he opened his mouth wide to breathe. No need, he's just trash, execute him on the spot, he coldly said. Yes, sir. A few gunshots were fired. The saint coldly ordered, don't let your guard down, continue to eliminate suspicious people, make sure that tonight's banquet goes smoothly. Yes, sir. Gu Qing-shan retracted his inner sight and silently fell into thought. One of the 7 holy apostles, the expiating ascetic, Ivan. He's a cruel and dangerous person who likes to kill under the guise of sparring. Ivan's current strength is equivalent to a golden core early-stage cultivator. Luckily, he doesn't train spirit energy, otherwise he would be as strong as a rejuvenation realm cultivator. In the entire Holy Church, other than the Pope, the holy apostles are the strongest fighting force. This time, the only reason Gu Qing-shan came to the Holy Empire was because he was worried about the Pope and the holy apostles. Gu Qing-shan casually formed a presence concealment hand seal. A second later, the faint glow around his body was completely retracted. From his appearance, it's impossible to tell how strong he is at all. Very quickly, the embassy car slowly stopped. The ambassador opened the car door and came out to check the situation. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.